Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, this evening to the Cyber Thunder Racing League 2025 Season 2 Opener. Here at the high banks of Daytona, we look to begin the very next chapter in the history of the Cyber Thunder Racing League here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcasting Network. Right now, the drivers are finishing up the last 10 or so minutes of practice, and tonight we are looking at a 100 lapper. Tom is currently administering the driver's meet to all of our drivers who are going to hit the track for qualifying in about 10 minutes, and he'll jump up here with me shortly. But for now, let me go ahead and pull up our race info because we've got some stuff to look at for tonight's race. As always, there are 3 stages, 2 stage breaks in the middle of the race. The first one's going to be coming at lap 20, and a fuel run tonight sounds like it's going to be in the ballpark of about 24 laps. Based on speaking to the drivers during the practice session this past hour, seems like 24 is the magic number. Stage 1 shouldn't be a problem, and stage 2 ends at lap 50. Now that does potentially cause a problem. Getting from the end of stage 1 to the end of stage 2, you don't have enough fuel unless you start saving or you pit. So we're going to be keeping our eye out for some strategy in stage 2, and then of course the final stage, the longest stage of the race, stage 3, from lap 50 to lap 100, and that will of course end the race. Tonight, drivers have 5 sets of fuel, or tires, excuse me, 5 sets of tires, 4 changes. The 5th one is the set they start on, but I don't think tires are going to be too big of a concern here at the high banks of Daytona this evening. With the plate races being how they are, tire wear is not very often a concern, especially in the truck here. 70% fuel as always compared to the real-life counterpart, and of course, with every race, we have 3 attempts at overtime should it be needed, should we get some late race cautions as we close it down a little bit later this evening. But we've got a long night ahead of us. And go and get rid of that graphic and take a look at the times on the board for practice. We've seen all sorts of drivers out there. We've got some new faces. We've got many of the returning names that you know and love. And you'll have to let me know in the chat there who you're rooting on tonight, who you're here to support, whether it's one driver or multiple. At the top of the board, it's Amanda Sherman in the War Wagon, that 88 truck, bringing it up with a great time of a 47:38. That, of course, done in the draft. Most every time you're going to see on there was done in some pack racing, some drafting practice. Had to get a lot of that in tonight. We've got drivers with all sorts of varying strategies. Having talked to them throughout the practice session, we got all kinds of different ideas as to how to play tonight's race. But if there's one thing that is for certain, that 88 truck of Amanda Sherman being top of the board is no surprise when we come to a plate track such as Daytona or Talladega. That 88 truck has these tracks circled, so keep an eye on Amanda all evening because she is fast and she loves these tracks as a good opportunity to go out there and try and get a surprise victory. Out of the rest of the top 10 that we have on the board currently in practice, Lee Campbell in the 60 truck looking to capitalize, or rather continue the momentum after a really consistent, really solid season in 2025-1 here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. We got Greg Mitchell in 3rd on the board at the moment, returning after a very strong season. 4 wins last year for Greg Mitchell. Could not make the championship race, although he would have been in it. Missed opportunity there, but a lot more to come this season. Gary Bowman in 4th on the board, was in that championship race at the end of 25-1. Chris Wold in the 32 in 5th. Ed Jurgen, Logan Spencer, Jaden Wicks, Dave Gainforth, and Leroy Koblenz round out your top 10 for practice at the moment. Now, these times might be a little indicative of some of the drafting speed some of these drivers have, but I wouldn't weigh it too heavily, not like any other track we go to. We're really going to see how things shake out come qualifying in 6 minutes' time. And that's where we'll really see kind of a couple things. We'll see how fast some of these drivers are at the high banks of Daytona. And we're also going to see, excuse me, a little bit of some of the strategies, some of the ideas. Some of these drivers are going to elect not to qualify, and that will be a very intentional choice. There's a lot of drivers who don't really like to play up front with the race leaders early in these races because of the carnage potential that is the big one when we come to Daytona or Talladega, of course. If people up front are getting a little too dicey to lead some laps, to get up there to get some stage points, that causes wrecks, and some drivers don't want to take that chance, so they might not qualify at all. And of course, you'll have the people who want to go get pole, want to go lead this race, want to go get some stage points. That's what is so beautiful about it, the differing strategies. And we'll see what everyone has to offer. But looks like everyone is just settling in. Don't know if we'll get too many cars on track for the last 5 minutes of practice here. Everyone is buckling down, grabbing a drink before the start of the race, getting some water, heading to the restroom, and getting ready to go out there and lay down some qualifying times. It'll be really interesting to see who does what in terms of who chooses to qualify and not. But out of those who might choose to do so, I've got my eyes on Gary Bowman and the 8 truck. If you ask me personally, I've seen Gary qualify up front at these plate tracks more than any other person in any races I've participated in. So I like Bowman. He's a safe bet. He's a guy that knows how to go fast around here. That's who I've got potentially winning the pole this evening. But we've got, of course, a handful of new drivers. And who knows, could one of the new faces to the Cyber Thunder Racing League go out there and make a statement with a pole position and race number 1 out of 23 that we have for this brand new season that is upon us, starting this evening. Tonight, of course, in Daytona. Next week, staying in the state of Florida. Next week, we're headed down to Miami for Homestead Miami Speedway, one of my favorite tracks personally, and a track that often provides some very, very entertaining racing. So, good way to start out the season with a couple races here, and looking forward to call them with alongside Tom Richter. And hey, speak of the devil, here he is.
Hey Arie, so glad to be up here for Tuesday night on the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series out here in the Cyber. And wow, we have got a wonderful, we've got a really good sized field out here tonight. Currently, 32 drivers have made their way down to the beaches of Daytona for 100 laps of racing tonight.
Absolutely. I've been talking a little bit about who you might be able to expect go out there and try and set down a time of qualifying. Talking about that top 10 on the board we have in practice. Talking a little bit about what we're going to see at the start of the season. We've got some returning faces and some new faces alike. We're shaping up for a really good season.
Yeah, we are. We absolutely are. 23 races long is this current schedule that these drivers got looking at in front of them. We've got all sorts of tracks out here. For the first time ever, we've got 3 road courses on our schedule. We've got the Charlotte Roval, we've got Sonoma, and we've got Watkins Glen that these drivers are going to be battling. We've got the short tracks of North Wilkesboro. We've got, is Dover a short track? We've got Dover as well. We've got Richmond, a whole bunch of difficult style tracks that these drivers are going to be trying to tame and trying to find their way into victory lane at. And they've got 23 opportunities to do so, and it begins tonight.
Tell you what, Tom, I'm pretty excited for it. There's a lot of buzz going around, and one thing we'll have to keep an eye on as well is there's a number of drivers who couldn't make this evening's race, drivers who we would consider championship contenders, and they've got a little bit more work to do, missing early in the season here. That's going to kind of light that fire a little bit more, up that intensity as we head into some of the future races here early in the season. So we've got a lot of fun storylines that are building up.
Yeah, it's surprising to see like drivers like Dustin Ping not here. Dustin Ping, a strong contender in 2025 Season 1. Cody Gibson, the winner of the last time we were here in the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. Cody Gibson found career number 1. So a lot of drivers, Matt Semple, one of our Championship 4 drivers, unable to make tonight's race. So it's going to be fun to watch them try to come back. And without the win and in on the playoff system this season, it's going to be a tough task.
That it is. And speaking of tough tasks, we're watching the driver of the number 88, top of the boards in practice, Amanda Sherman. Tom, let me know what you think when it comes to plate tracks, super speedways, and that 88 truck. What do you think about Amanda's chances tonight?
Give me a 32-sided die. Amanda is very strong at Daytona and Talladega, but I tell you what, there's 31 other drivers that are out there trying to beat that war wagon to victory lane. I would not be surprised to see this 88 up front towards the middle and the end of the race. Probably see her drop back towards the beginning of the race, but would not be surprised to see that 88 up front.
Absolutely, and Dale the Possum on the side of that truck as well to boot. Try to see if we can't get Dale the Possum in victory lane one of these days. That would be a time.
That would be a time here, Arie, but Time is running out. Got about 30 seconds before we go to our 5-minute 2-lap open or qualifying out here. So what do you say? We're going to throw a trackside here real quick, and we'll be back for your full 5 minutes.
All right, back just in time as we see the 92 truck of Edward Jurgen heading out on track. And Tom, did you hear how quiet that truck was right there?
Certainly not getting the full potential from Ed Jurgen right now as you take a look. 120 miles an hour going into the corners here. We've seen this strategy play out before. We've seen it at the Cyber 500 back in February, where the drivers will maybe wait a lap or so to really get that truck up to full song. Keeps the tires cool, keeps some fuel in it. I don't know the trick. I didn't qualify very well here, but now you see him starting to pick up the pace here.
Yeah, I tell you what, Tom, that's something I noticed out of the likes of teammates, Ed Jurgen and Gary Bowman, is they'll get it up into fourth gear about as quick as possible, take their sweet time accelerating that truck, because the idea is keeping the tires as cool as you can, getting as little friction, as little heat into them. Just take it nice and easy, getting it up to speed. This first lap doesn't count. They don't care about it. They want to get onto that second lap with tires that are as cold and fresh as possible, because those tires aren't going to slip in the corners as much. They're going to bite really nicely, and that adds up to as much of a tenth of a difference, which on these tracks is all the difference.
All the difference, and that's what these drivers are looking for out here tonight. Andrew Caldwell, one of our Championship 4 drivers from last season, returning in familiar colors for 2025 Season 2. Andrew Caldwell in that Toyota Tundra of number 46. That's going to be a name that we're going to talk about a lot this season, Arie. Didn't get a win last season on I think it's like a 90-race winless streak or something for Caldwell. I expect that winless streak to change this season, and maybe tonight.
I absolutely do as well. Caldwell came so close to the championship this last season, coming runner-up in the results during that final race, and oh so close. And I feel like when you're oh so close that often, it's only a matter of time. And I do think once we see that 46 in victory lane, it will not be the only time.
New colors for Gary Bowman in the number 8 Toyota Tundra out here for him, and the smoked bacon. He got rid of the Game Genie, but new colors, got some teal on there, got some chrome. Good looking Iron Pig smoked bacon Toyota Tundra.
That it is. I do like that teal right there. What does that spoiler say? Oink if you like bacon. It looks like Gary's gonna pull off on pit road.
I thought it said honk, but oink makes probably more sense. Couple of drivers finishing up qualifying laps out here. Carter Lawson finishing up his laps. We got the 55 of Greg Mitchell beginning his laps out here right now. Greg Mitchell, strong contender last season. Made the championship 4 and then couldn't make the championship event. I think Greg is going to be out for blood this season.
Oh, absolutely. I think that door is wide open. I think I even mentioned that in the power rankings. There's an opening in the door, and it's Greg Mitchell shaped. I wouldn't be surprised to see Greg rattle off a quite a fantastic season, and it'll be up to some of these others to step up and meet the challenge and not let Greg take this opportunity and run away with it.
First lap down for the number 55 machine, just over half a second off your current pole sitter, Gary Bowman. Andrew Caldwell currently to his outside, Jason Dinsmore, Chris Wold, Lee Campbell currently your top 5, as Gary Sigelco just takes a top 5 spot away. But time running out here in qualifying, just about 30 seconds remaining. Greg and Dwayne Young, Steven Music, couple of the last cars on track right now.
I'm going to be real interested to see what Greg Mitchell can do here. He's shown solid qualifying at these super speedways before. Going to come across the line and throw that 55 truck up to P10 with that performance right there.
Time running out for Steven Music in the 09 machine. Believe this is going to be 3-2-1 checkered flag for qualifying out here tonight. Gary Bowman going to be taking home the first pole position of the season.
Well, you might not believe me until you go back and watch the broadcast, but I did call Gary Bowman for the pole before he joined the call a little earlier, so 1 point to me.
Well, very nice. Gary certainly knows how to get around here, but what do you say we begin our season here on a Tuesday night? I think it's about time we get set to go racing.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Pulling up your starting grid out here tonight. On the front row, Gary Bowman, Andrew Caldwell. That's going to be your front row. Row number 2 made up of Jason Dinsmore and rookie Dwayne Young to his outside in position number 4. Chris Wold and Gary Sigelco, that they make up row number 3, and the driver out of Full Send Esports, Lee Campbell and Phil Van Vliet, start 7th and 8th on the board. Right behind them, we got Chris Rose and Greg Mitchell on the top 10.
Starting in 11th place, it's going to be Ed Jurgen in the 92 truck, followed then by Judd Danielson. We've got Amanda Sherman in the War Wagon starting in 13th, Jackie Brennan, aka Chris Letts, in 14th. We've got Mike Stiverson in 15th in some brand new shiny silver and green colors. Nathan Dufton in 16th. Carter Lawson starting 17th. We've got Todor Todorov in 18th. Steven Music in 19th. And Tanner Marr rounding out the top 20.
And looking back up on the top 20, Jared Anderson, series rookie for this season. Going to be interested to see what Jared is able to do. He's got Leroy Koblenz, the driver out of Delaware, to his right side here for the start. Corey Sherman and Jaden Wicks, Brad Holmes and Chris Mackey start position 25 and 26. Eric Anderson and Larry Bell start 27th and 28th out here. And rounding out the top 30, Andy Cork and Dave Gainforth.
Shotgun on the field, Logan Spencer, Casey Tomlinson. Got some work to do from the back, or maybe it was intentional, we'll see. But either way, there is your starting grid for tonight's season opener.
Starting grid, here we go. 32 things that are going to be notable out here if we pull up the race information here. Going to be our stages, lap number 20, lap number 50. These drivers are working with 70% fuel, and they have 4 tire changes to use out here tonight. And no fast repairs, so no mistakes are allowed.
That is for certain, and I went around and I talked to many of the drivers pre-race. Tom jumped into some of their channels to kind of get a feel for what everyone was thinking, and it seemed like there were a few drivers who liked being up front and going for stage points, but more often than not, drivers were a little hesitant. It's the season opener. There are returning faces they know, but there's also some new faces that they haven't raced around, and there's a lot of drivers who are wanting to play it just a little bit safe, starting towards the back or starting in the middle and just kind of taking it easy. We're going to see quite the mix of different strategies, especially at the beginning in stage 1.
Well, it's about this time of the night where all the nerves are high, all the butterflies are flying around in their stomachs. They're checking their belts one more time, and they are ready to go for another season of racing out here tonight. No mistakes. Drivers going to be just inches apart from each other as they come to the start-finish line for the first time. What do you say we get the green flag flown for the first time tonight?
I say I've never heard more exciting words of my life, Tom. Pace car is going to pull off. We've got that green flag waiting as we approach the restart zone. Gary Bowman, green, Andrew Caldwell, lead us to green. 2025-2 underway.
32 cars strong, making their way down into turn number 1 for the first time out here tonight, being led by Gary Bowman, Dwayne Young, Andrew Caldwell. All these drivers up towards the front, 2 by 2. See a couple of these drivers already starting to get single file as they come through.
One thing I'm already noticing is the amount of drivers who are looking for that bottom line, the amount of drivers who just want to play it safe, just take it easy. It's lap 1, let's get settled, let's get in a rhythm, and get down to the bottom line, which is often where you see drivers do that. Looks like Gary Bowman comfortably out front through turns 3 and 4 to come back and lead lap number 1.
Lap number 1 looks like it's going to be led by Gary Bowman in that Iron Pigs teal truck that he's got out here tonight. Lap number 1 lap down of 100 for tonight's race. A couple of drivers already starting to make their way forward. A couple of drivers, Casey Tomlinson up 7 spots, got Nathan Dufton up a couple of spots. A couple of drivers beginning to make their way backwards as well. See Brad Holmes, Eric Anderson, Andy Cork kind of towards that back of the pack. Looks like they're just going to kind of play it safe until we get to that first stage, but the outside line is running with the 55 up front.
Oh, yeah, it is, Tom. That was a great shot right there as Caldwell pushes Mitchell to the lead. That's going to be the first 3 trucks on the outside clear. The 25 thinks about it, hesitates, but is indeed clear. Going to leave Philip Van Vliet as the first car on the outside, and Greg Mitchell to the point here at Daytona for lap number 2.
Lap 2 done and away. Philip Van Vliet trying to make his way up to the outside. He's got Gary Sigelcoat to his inside as they come through into turn number 1. Andrew Caldwell giving a little bit of space. I don't know if we've spoken about it yet, but giving a little bit of space. You're only going to get probably 2 laps or so before the truck starts to really overheat and you start to have some sort of engine issues. So as long as there's not a line coming, save that air and that oil temperature for when you actually need it, when you need to defend a line.
That is a fantastic point. These trucks are notorious for their overheating problems. Now, one of the more interesting things that I did hear from jumping around into the drivers' channels before the race, Tom, was that you might get an extra lap of pushing in tonight, as the temperatures could hold on for about 3 laps before it went red. So that could be related to the temperatures here on the track. Could be something to keep an eye on. Drivers might be able to get a little more aggressive as the night goes on.
Drivers looking for the race lead up here. Phil Van Vliet got a good push from, I want to say that's Judd Danielson, and the number 85 right behind him. Got series newcomer Teodor. That's what we're going to go with. Teodor and the number 27 in that teal and green truck, working row 3 of the outside lane. Which lane do you prefer here, Arie? If you've got somebody that's perfect storm, you got somebody that you trust right behind you, right in front of you. Which lane do you prefer?
Well, I tell you what, Tom, I want to be on the outside. I was saying this to somebody earlier, but I don't want to touch that bottom line. It's a safe spot. It's good if you're just riding. If the whole field's single file, you kind of don't really have a choice. But if there are 2 lanes, I want to be on the outside lane. I want to be either in the middle or on all the way at the top. Either way, the only line that really moves forward is going to...
the 25 here, Arie.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like he's going to pull off onto the apron. He was running top 5, Tom, in a little bit of a jumble there, and it looks like having some issues. I had to pull off the track for. See if we get an update on that at some point. Back up front, Greg Mitchell in the 55 truck leading the way. Got Phil Van Vliet in the 89 leading the outside, but as I was saying, Tom, that outside line, that's where I want to be. Give me the outside line every time. That's the one that moves. That's the one I want to be in front of. Looks like this outside line is going to get a pretty good run here. We've got the 89 of Philip Van Vliet getting a little taste of that clean air. Going to bring it right up alongside the 55 of Greg Mitchell right here. And that outside line is real strong, all things considered, within the first 10 laps of the race right here. I think on that outside line, we might be seeing a group of drivers who don't really want to lean back, and they want to get up there and fight for some stage points. Don't want to give up that track position and try to take some away, as we see pole sitter Gary Bowman on the bottom there. Now 4 cars back as we are on board here with the 60 truck of Lee Campbell. It's a great little shot of what it's like behind the wheel of these trucks when you're in the pack. These guys are racing at just shy of 200 miles an hour, just like this. Can't see in front of the truck in front of you unless they swerve out of the way just a little bit, and you got to do this for 100 laps tonight.
This is a really good view to show kind of the limited visibility, and this is a pretty accurate depiction of what Lee sees right in front of him right now. You see drivers moving around, you can see just a little bit, but you see him kind of poking his nose out to try to get a better line of visibility, and that's kind of what everybody else is doing right now. Obviously, you want to be right up on the bumper of the guy in front of you to try to have the best push possible, but at this stage in the race, you know, I'll take a little bit of, I'll lean back a little bit and try to give myself a better line of sight in case something happens in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially early in the race, I think you're going to see a lot of that, and I would be one of those drivers as well who's peeking a nose out, keeping an eye on things. I don't want to get caught up in something too early, as we see the 55 and the 89 still about neck and neck, side by side, leading these two lines around Daytona as we are getting closer to halfway through stage one. Stage one, a really quick one tonight.
Yeah, only 20 laps in the stage, so all these drivers know that they're going to have a stage caution here in the next 10 or 12 laps or so. But also on the line out here tonight, and we're going to talk about this more as the season goes along, stage points are more important than ever for the wild card spot. The wild card spot, it's the top two drivers who are the most stage points. So that's also going to be something that I think we're going to see a lot of storylines around as the season goes along, and who decides to push and who says, you know what, I'm going to try to go for the race finish instead of the stage points.
Absolutely, Tom. Stage points more important than they've ever been. If you don't have a good enough season on points to make the playoffs, you've got the redemption card that is the wild card if you've got some of the most stage points out there. So a lot of drivers will be going for some stage points, especially drivers who might not think that they have race winning speed on any given night, and that'll always shuffle up the pack real good. Here at a play track, though, it's kind of a different balance, Tom. You're balancing, do you want to go up there and fight for stage points with the risk of ending your entire race? Because the carnage that lies in wait here at these tracks is something to behold.
Well, I tell you what, I think everybody's in it for points right now because the entire field is only separated by 2.8 seconds first to last.
That is pretty phenomenal, actually. 10 laps into the race right here. Thought maybe we'd see like a breakaway pack at the back, and we do get a single file line back there, but it's all one pack. Everyone's still connected. Everyone's still here, and there's more cars running that outside line than I was expecting to see this early in the race.
See that big blip of cars into turn 3 right there? That's the pack. That's the entire field. Dave Gainforth, they're going to be catching Dave Gainforth here in a lap or two. Dave already one lap down. Believe he had some sort of misfortune coming off of pit road. But Dave Gainforth in danger of going 2 laps down to begin tonight's race. But you got 30 cars still in this right now.
Oh yeah, you got 30 cars, you've got a lot of chaos in wait. There is ample opportunities, 2 stage cautions. I'm not sweating too much if I'm Dave, but I don't love the position I'm in, especially as the pack closes in. We've got some cars on that high line, Tom, that are getting a little squirrely.
Yeah, I just saw the 27 of Theodore pop out there. I believe that's Tanner Marr, I want to say, right behind him. No, excuse me, Nathan Dufton. It was a little nice of the 27 right there. Decided, hey, you know, come on back in. Only working lap number 11, so they were nice. But battle for the race lead up front. Andrew Caldwell under fire from Chris Rose. Chris Rose sporting a new paint scheme out here tonight for a very special reason that we'll talk a little bit more as the race goes along out here. But Chris Rose looking to make the charge at Daytona.
Absolutely, we saw that bright red 07 of Chris Rose make a dart out to the outside line. Wants to get that truck in front of the field. And for a very special reason, Chris Rose in that all-red 07. Got to keep an eye on Chris Rose when it comes to plate tracks, Tom. Has these tracks circled as a good opportunity. And if one thing is for certain, as long as Chris Rose is on track, nobody else is going to be more aggressive.
Chris Rose looking to get a push from Phil Van Vliet, from Judd Danielson as they come out of turn number 4. Currently still led by Greg Mitchell and Andrew Caldwell. The top line just doesn't seem to be very formed very well right now.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. I think some of those drivers on the outside line can see Dave Gainforth coming, and they're going to have to go 3 wide right here. A little bit of a squeeze. And I think some of those drivers were just seeing how squirrely a couple drivers were getting. They didn't really like that, and that's, you know, oftentimes enough for a driver or two to decide, hey, maybe I don't want to push this much of this early. Oh, as Corey Sherman gets into the 101 of Dave Gainforth, tumbles over. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have lost count. Dave Gainforth going for the ride of his life. I've never seen anything like that.
Dave Gainforth goes for a wild ride as the yellow flag did not come out for that.
No, it did not, actually.
iRacing has a weird algorithm of not throwing cautions if there's no issue on the actual racing surface, but drivers involved, Dave Gainforth and Corey Sherman, perhaps even more. We're going to take another look at that in just a moment once I can try to find it here. But big issues for the 101, big issues for the 3.
Absolutely do not want to see that out of either of those drivers this early in the race, but we'll keep tabs on that. Up front, Greg Mitchell in the 55 with that 46 of Caldwell on his bumper. Chris Rose trying to make that outside line work, but that bottom line, they're just formed up real nice, and those first 3 cars, those are names we know to be fast. Those are 3 guys who know what they're doing. If you're on the outside line, you've got your work cut out for you as we come to 6 to go in stage 1.
Kind of broke the pack up a little bit now. Now you kind of got a couple of distinct packs out here. As we take a look at the track map out here, you see the top, let's say the top 20 still together, and then you've got 22nd through about 25th, and then you've got another small group of 25 to about 30. But that incident there, and for good reason. If I drove past that and I saw the dirt and the dust kicking up there, I'd say get me out of this.
Yeah, I would have been hard on the brakes if I saw that kind of carnage happening in front of me. So it's good news for those guys that are broke off from the main pack that were so close to the stage end. We're going to get a reset pretty quick here, and pretty shocked that there was no caution, but just another one of those things that's going to add a little intrigue to tonight's event.
Drivers looking to get the first stage points of the season out here tonight. Greg Mitchell being still pushed by Andrew Caldwell in second place, Gary Bowman in third, and Dwayne Young in that number 48 Lowe's machine. You see that bright yellow truck down on the inside line. That's currently about your top 5 or so. It's kind of hard to call here at Daytona and places like Daytona, Talladega, because everybody moves around so much. But Greg Mitchell, if I'm looking in Greg Mitchell's mirror right now, I like what I see in that 46. I like what I see in that 8 behind me. I know I've got some drivers that I can trust behind me, and I'm going to try to ride this stage out here for the next 3 laps.
Absolutely, and I'll even add on to that just a little bit, Tom. With how good the lineup is behind me, if I'm Greg Mitchell, I don't want to get too far ahead because I don't want the 8 or the 46 to have a chance to go lead that outside line. Those are fast guys, and I know it. Greg knows it. So if I'm getting a really good push, I might let off just a little bit, just to keep that outside line a little closer so that I have that good help behind me all the way to the finish.
Now you can see Chris Rose is fully cleared of the 55 going down to turn number 1, but his help is not. He says, I'm just going to go down, and the 07 of Chris Rose goes to the point.
He absolutely does, and we saw a couple squirrely trucks on the outside, weren't quite ready for that move. A little bit of light contact, the 89 with the 55 and the 27 with the wall, but all is fair in love and war, and everyone keeps going. That 07 of Chris Rose going to lead lap number 17 here at Daytona in that Tribute Red Silverado, ahead of Greg Mitchell now on the bottom, and that 89, that lone Dutchman, Tom, he's not giving up.
Yeah, Philip VanVleet has been moving forward a little bit throughout the course of the race. Started 8th on the board out here tonight, currently running 2nd as we approach the end of the stage number 1 here at the conclusion of lap number 20. Philip trying to get some stage points. Greg, Judd, Andrew, Dwayne, Gary. If I'm any of these drivers, I'm almost content just to kind of ride where I'm at, say, hey, let's just ride these next 2 laps out. Let's not get too crazy up here, guys. We're already up in the top 5. What's it matter? So, but I don't think these drivers would agree, as Philip VanVleet takes the race lead in turn number 1, and he's got Judd Danielson pushing him from behind.
Absolutely, and one thing we saw there as we approach a tri-oval is A little bit of a weird timing on the bump from the 55 to the 07. That caused a little bit of an accordion effect on the bottom line, gave that top line the opportunity. Van Vliet could not quite get cleared, though, and we are back to neck and neck. We've got two lines about equally as long. It looked like we got 3 wide towards the back for just a brief moment there, as we see the race leaders here. About even. Looks like the bottom line's got the momentum, but with that high line at these tracks, you come off of that corner, and that high line is fast. They are charging off of that banking to the line. This is going to be a fun stage end.
All right, 1 to go in the stage out here tonight. And Chris being led by Chris Rose, Greg Mitchell in second, Phil Van Vliet trying to get the stage win out here tonight, but a whole bunch of drivers trying to put a wrinkle in that iron as these drivers come around for what will be the final time of stage number 1.
It's all going to come down to how good of a push that 85 can give Philip Van Vliet. How much temperature has that 85 been saving? Look at this momentum down the backstretch. And now Greg Mitchell, did he time it right? Can he keep the 07 ahead of the 89 as we enter turn 3?
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a bobble between the 55 and the 07 on the exit turn 2. That allowed the outside to come through, but it's going to be a drag race down to the start-finish line for stage number 1.
Here we go then, to the line, Philip Van Vliet, Chris Rose, who's it gonna be? Almost too close to call, Tom. Holy, that was quite the stage finish. If anything, I might want to give the edge to the 89, but we'll wait a second on that.
All right, we're going to give these guys a second to get onto pit road here, but let's see if we can't find the incident with Dave Gainforth here. Try to take a look at Dave's off-track incident here. See him right up on the outside wall, and then, yeah, him and the 3 kind of just got together, and you see Dave going over once, twice, 3. Stop trying to count him time.
Yeah, we're going to need somebody to count how many flips that was and get back to us in the Discord at some point, but real unfortunate occurrence. It looks like the 101 just kind of tapped the wall, and the 3 wasn't ready for the 101 to be moving at all, and they just kind of came together at a bad time there.
Yeah, unfortunate end to the night for Corey Sherman. As well, Corey has retired from the race, as we've got our field coming around to make their way onto pit road for the first time.
Absolutely are, and whether or not it was the result of the stage itself, the Lone Dutchman 89, Philip Van Vliet, going to lead us on to pit road, followed by Chris Rose and Judd Danielson. And quick little shout out while we're on the pit road here, Tom, of one of our new drivers, Dwayne Young in that 48, stayed around the top 5 that entire first stage, got some good points, good showing to start.
Looks like everybody clean on pit road, and going to be trying to be clean off pit road as well. Phil Van Vliet's the first driver to drop down the jack, but Andrew Caldwell might have gotten him on the exit there. We're going to check timing and scoring in just a moment, but Judd Danielson, Chris Rose, Greg Mitchell, Dwayne Young, and then I kind of lost track from there, but big races off pit road as we
That it is.
come around here.
I tell you what, looks like Caldwell got it, but we've seen 2 races to the line, so to say, now tonight, and both were too close to call. I think that's a good sign of things to come, Tom. We're in for one tonight. So we see Andrew Caldwell catch up to the back of the pace car, halfway down the back stretch. Looks like it's going to cycle out with Philip Van Vliet in second place. We got Judd Danielson, Chris Rose, Greg Mitchell, rounding out the top 5 off of the pit exit.
Doing a little bit of housekeeping around here. Still got 27 cars on the lead lap. Jared Anderson, Jackie Brannon, Corey Sherman, Dave Gainforth, and Gary Sigelco. A lap or more down, perhaps out of the race, but 27 cars still on the lead lap.
Absolutely, and while we're pacing around here under stage 1, you wanna pull up one of our 2 contestants there for the end of stage 1, Tom?
Sure. There you go. I'll give you Philip, Arie.
All right, there we have it. Stage 1 winner? Question mark? Not sure. It was too close to call. I'm going to say winner. The 89 Lone Dutchman, Philip Van Vliet. Walk us through the end of that stage and what you were thinking and what your plan might be going forward here.
Yeah, that outside line, both lines seem like they're pretty equal. I just was hoping that I could side draft a lot. The inside line was kind of wiggling a little bit on me, but that's about all I can do is just side draft and try and see if I can get some stage points because, I'm not the guy to get stage points, so I went for it to see what happens.
Absolutely, that's going to be a good way to do it. It's going to come into handy later in the season. You going to try and stay up there and get more in stage 2, Philip, or take it easy from this point?
I'm going to see what happens here. I might drop back, though, just to try and conserve some fuel. I don't know. See what happens.
All right, like the sounds of that. Well, good run in stage 1 and good luck the rest of the night, Philip.
All right, we sent the Lone Dutchman back down to his channel. Hope that was the right channel for Philip there. But winner of stage number 1, the 89 machine. But lost the spot on pit road. Andrew Caldwell comes out as the race leader.
That he
Van
does,
Vliet,
and
Judd Danielson, Chris Rose, and Greg Mitchell, your top 5.
Tell you what, I think we're going to be saying that name Caldwell quite a lot tonight. Rounding out the top 10 before the pace car pulls off here. Got Dwayne Young in the 48, Gary Bowman in the 8, Nathan Dufton, Brad Holmes, Ed Jurgen rounding out the top 10 as we get ready to get stage 2 underway.
Pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road and lead the field to Andrew Caldwell to bring us to our first restart of the night. Stage number 2 underway. Andrew Caldwell with a good jump on the inside line. Judd Danielson to his rear bumper. Phil Van Vliet going to lose 2, 3, maybe 4 spots on this start here until the engines get wound up.
Absolutely, and you can see those remnants on the outside line already diving down to the bottom. On these restarts, when that outside line can't get going, it's a free-for-all to get into the openings on the bottom. Everyone kind of panics a little bit. They don't want to wait for that line to reform, and if your driver's like the 89 or the 07 on the high side there, you just gotta wait. Gotta wait for everyone to get up to speed and get some help out there from those who are willing to jump out there. But I think in this stage right here, we're gonna see a lot of fuel saving, Tom.
Good push on the outside line right now. 2 versus 4. 2 on the high side, 4 on the bottom side. Chris Rose, Phil Van Vliet trying to make the most of what they got to work with out here. And they're doing a pretty good job right now. Phillips putting some side draft on the 46, the 85, trying to drag that inside line back a little bit. But good run on the outside line as now they get some help from Brad Holmes. Double-double in the row number 3 behind him.
Absolutely, tonight's biggest mover so far. Double-double up 19 positions. Now 4th car on that outside, the 00, of course, as Caldwell decides to lead ahead of the Lone Dutchman on that high side right there. And you know what's funny about that, Tom? The person who asked me what lane I want to be in, that was Andrew Caldwell, and look at this.
That was a big moment there from Phil Van Vliet behind Andrew Caldwell. Got out of line halfway down the backstretch. Luckily, Chris Rose was nice enough, said, hey, you know what, pop back in line. We're going to restack, repack, and try to get this line moving again. But that almost was our big one.
That was very close. Good heads-up driving from everyone to avoid that is 85 truck. Judd Danielson to the front for the first time this evening, going to lead on lap number 25. We got Greg Mitchell and Gary Bowman, tonight's pole sitter, right in tow on that bottom line. And an interesting little gap back to the 4th car back there that Caldwell looks like he's going to try and fit into.
46 drops down. He pushes the down button on the elevator. He's going to fall down onto the inside line, bring that number 46 Toyota Tundra down. And now it looks like Gary Bowman going to try to say, hey, I'm going to come on up here, try to get a push from the Lone Dutchman. Gary Bowman trying to become the next race leader here in just a lap or 2. Gary is, a lot of people say that super speedway racing is 99% luck. Well, I think Gary is the epitome of having that 1% skill here on the super speedway races. The moves that he makes on these super speedway races are really fun to watch, and they're calculated, and he knows what he's doing next every single time.
Absolutely, that's a great point, Tom. If everyone else is racing with 99% luck, Gary's found a way to make it 98 because he's got 2% skill here, and that doesn't sound as good when I say it, but you get the point. Gary's good. He knows what he's doing. He's going to lead that outside line and try to get to the front.
Take a look here, riding on board with Brad Holmes on the inside line on the nose cam, following Greg Mitchell around. You can see just the tiniest bit of gap in between him and Greg Mitchell in front of him. That's allowing Greg to get off the gas a little bit if he needs some air, but it's also allowing Greg to make a mistake. Whereas you're not right up on him. In case Greg has to get out of the gas, you're not going to turn into a 30-car wreck out here. But nice spacing and separation from Brad Holmes right here.
Absolutely, and this is something that you're going to see amplified as you go back. Pick a car, whether it's the 3rd on the bottom, the 5th on the bottom, the 10th on the bottom. The further back you go, the more that effect right there is kind of amplified. The more you're leaning off of the back of the guy in front of you, the more you're off the throttle, the more courtesy you're giving, because as those checkups happen, they get worse and worse and worse the farther you go back, and a lot of the drivers do their best to be really aware of that, especially early in the race, to avoid that kind of thing from happening, and you see most of that happen on that bottom line.
I tell you, one driver I've been keeping my eye on, 11 laps, or a plus 11 spots from his qualifying position out here. Steven Music in that hard-to-see 09 truck as they come through 1 and 2, but good start to tonight's race for Steven Music as we work lap number 29, up to the 8th place spot, started 19th on the grid.
Yeah, I tell you what, Tom, looking at the 09, if a truck could be a ghost, it would look like that. And whatever that entails, whatever that means, you do your thing, Steven Music, and up there, 4th car on the high side, having a pretty good run so far.
Not much change up front. Judd Danielson, Greg Mitchell. One driver that did drop back on this most recent restart, Andrew Caldwell, is back down to 11th place. That's probably the lowest we've seen Caldwell all night long in that 46 machine. I think he was getting probably some bad bumps, and he said, I don't really want to be up here at the moment. But back down to 11th place, but certainly still in contention, and I believe he will be quite all right.
Absolutely, and one thing I mentioned at the very start of the broadcast tonight, a fuel run is in the ballpark range of about 24 laps. Now that leaves us in an interesting position here for stage number 2, where the drivers have a little bit more than that they've got to run. Now these guys up front, especially the likes of Judd Danielson in the 85 and Gary Bowman in the 8, they don't get to save fuel like anybody else in the race, and the further you go back, the more you can save fuel. These guys up front, they're going to be in danger of running out of fuel before the stage is over. They might have to pit, whereas some other guys on the track, they're going to be able to leapfrog for some stage points.
Halfway down the backstretch here, as we see Judd Danielson under fire from Gary Bowman. Gary Bowman getting a push from Van Vliet up on the outside line. The outside line's really cooking right now. They got Ed Jurgen. First time we said Ed's name out here all night tonight. Ed, very good. 2-time winner of the Cyber 500. I know he would love for me to say that. So 2-time winner of the Cyber 500 for Ed Jurgen up there. Knows his way around a super speedway and finding his way up towards the front right now. Up 5 spots from his qualifying position. Started 11th on the board. So Ed starting to line up with his teammate Gary Bowman. 2 cars in front of him.
That he is, and Ed's another driver that we have seen knows how to get around these super speedway tracks and make stuff happen. We've got quite a few cars up on that high side, still trying to make things work, still trying to get up there and contend. And I'm starting to get the feeling, Tom, that there's a number of drivers in here that aren't really fazed by saving fuel or whether they pit or don't pit. And I think you have that advantage at a plate track, at a super speedway here, where you can pit and you're not going to go a lap down, especially if it's close enough to the end of a stage and you don't have to worry about staying in the pack.
Well, I had spoken with Gary Bowman and Ed Jurgen before tonight's race, and I said, I think we're going to be okay on stage 1. How do you guys feel about stage 2? And they said there's no point in saving on stage 2 unless you get a caution. So already out of the gate for Lounge Racing, the 92 and the 8, they knew coming into it that their strategy was to push in stage 2.
Yep, and makes sense that they would both be up there towards the front trying to do so. Might as well not be buried in the pack when the pit sequences started, and going pretty good for them as we see a little bit of a squirrely bottom line. Everyone's starting to get a little bit closer together. Those pushes are ramping up just a little bit. We've got the first 4, almost 5 cars on the bottom linked up, and they've got quite the momentum on that high side.
A little bit different look than stage 1 we had here. We're working 13, 14 laps into stage number 2. This time in stage number 1, the energy just seemed a little bit higher from the front pack. The entire field at that time was separated only by 1.8 seconds. Now the field is separated by about 3 seconds with a couple of outliers. Carter Lawson coming onto pit road as a solo car. So a couple of outliers doing that right now, but I think you're seeing this long train on the inside line. Some of them maybe in the back. I see Eric Anderson, Dave Gainforth, who else is back there? Tanner Marg, Chris Letts. Maybe those drivers say, I know something that the 8 and the 92 do, and maybe we can save if we run back here.
Absolutely, and might I just throw in there, did you say Dave Gainforth, the same truck that we saw flip end over end maybe 100 times?
No.
Still on track?
I did, but thank you. Thanks for correcting that. It was not Dave Gainforth. Dave is on pit road, terminally damaged.
Okay, I was about to say, if that truck is still going, I want to know who's fixing it. But up front, Judd Danielson in the lead as Greg Mitchell jumped in front of Gary Bowman to lead that outside line. And it looked like it was working pretty well for a moment, but that outside line has lost its momentum. That's going to allow double-double Brad Holmes to shoot out to lead that outside line in that F-150 truck on the outside. Going to try and build up this momentum right here. This high line is going to be in a good position coming down the front stretch.
Riding on board with Philip Van Vliet, following Gary Bowman as they come through the start-finish line, and you can hear Gary kind of playing with the throttle a little bit. Ooh, because he gets a little sideways right there. Maybe a little bit of contact or something. It sounded like he just got sideways.
Yeah, the trial rule on these tracks can be particularly dangerous, especially if you're getting a bump from behind, given a bump, or maybe you just hit it a little weird. As we see the 0-2, Jay Wick's going to jump up on the high side, change his mind, and jump back down to the bottom. Couple of tight moves right there. Is that outside line is starting to get a little form. We got 3 trucks in a row on that outside that are notoriously quick drivers. Front bumper to rear bumper, and they're going to be able to do something here.
Brad Holmes at the front of the field right now as they come across the line. It's complete lap number 36, begin 37. Brad Holmes leads his first laps of the night now. Greg Mitchell to his outside. Brad jumps down a little bit. I think he was trying to bring the 55 with them. 55 was not clear, and the 55 is going to get to his outside. Mitchell getting a push from Gary Bowman up on the outside line, and I think that outside line is probably going to prevail here down the back stretches. They've got the energy.
Absolutely, and I think if anything, maybe Greg Mitchell just preferred to have the 8 pushing him than to push the 00 and wanted to stay on that outside line. At least that's what will be going through my head. Absolutely, yeah. People starting to clip the apron. It's getting a little sketchy out here, Tom.
So we said that their fuel run was about, what did we say, about 22 laps or so?
Anywhere from 22 to 26, depending on how you've been running and how much you've been saving.
So we are working, call it lap number 18 of this stage here. So we're rapidly approaching the point of the stage where you may see a split strategy. Drivers coming onto pit road versus staying out, trying to save the fuel. I still think the drivers in the back, Andy Cork, Lee Campbell, those drivers, Chris Mackey back there, still think that they're running back their half throttle, thinking that they can save enough to make stage number 2. I don't think these leaders, definitely not the 85, definitely not the 55, definitely not the 8. I think they have already made their bed and they said we're gonna pit no matter what. But I think it's going to be an interesting strategy call here in the next 5 or 6 laps to see who comes down and who does not.
Absolutely, and I think that a high line dissipating like it is, it's got no momentum anymore. I think that's maybe a telltale sign of some of the drivers up there. They're starting to try and figure out how they can get to the bottom. We can feel the pit stops are approaching. People don't want to get stuck on the high side. They want to be able to come down with everyone else, and that's going to break up that high line quite a bit. We can see Greg Mitchell, Gary Bowman, the leaders on the high side, just falling further and further back, and that's just allowing the single file train on the bottom to get further and further ahead. And we've got a three-truck breakaway that almost became more of a breakaway, but got the 0-2 pulling everyone else back in as we exit turn 4, and we're going to wait another lap for pit stops.
And you start to see that outside line start to dissipate. That's an indicator that pit stops are going to be coming here in the next lap or two.
It absolutely is, and we've still got Greg Mitchell, Gary Bowman on the outside. They're still linked up, have not found their way to the bottom yet. Wondering if they're going to try and squeeze in or if they'll just wait for the opportunity when it presents itself. Either way, I'm a little surprised, Tom, that we've got such big gaps on the bottom right there. Not everyone's linked up. You would think, at the very least, with that high line dissipating, that people would be...
Leaders pitting this time.
All right, there we go. Gonna have our first green flag pit stops of the season, Tom. I'm excited. See what these drivers can do.
Yep, Brad Holmes heard the 07, heard the 48, 85, and here they all come.
Oh boy, 85 stays out. Decided not to after all. The 02, Jay Wick's gonna go around. Looks like most everyone else made it onto pit road pretty evenly. This does break up the pack quite a bit. These guys were still on track. Yes, they are still in the draft. Yes, they're still in the pack, but they are all out of sorts. They don't have very much momentum whatsoever. So if those initial pitters can get off the pit exit and get linked up quickly, they could still jump these guys.
Looks like the majority of drivers up and down pit road, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 drivers, elect and take 4 tires, see 14 seconds, pretty much up and down the board. Drivers that look like they may have taken 2 tires, Tanner Marr, Larry Bell, Chris Mackey, that group, that trio of 3, perhaps only taking 2 tires or gas only here on this first green flag pit stop out here. But it's going to be interesting to see what this next group does when they decide to come down. That first group didn't get down there very well, so that benefits this group because they can now run a couple of laps, try to gain some, try to put some distance between them and the other group that just came on pit road and try to gap them on the exit.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, Tom, can we pull up a little speed monitor here? Let's see how fast these leaders are running in this single file line. That can give us a good indication of how much they're saving fuel, if they're saving fuel at all. And we see our race leader and Gary Bowman, they're linked up right there. They're going 185 through the corner. They're not really too concerned with saving fuel right now, but you can see the gaps that are forming behind them. Starting with the 89 of Philip Van Vliet, you get another gap to Tanner Marr behind the 32, and those guys are saving fuel. If they were trying to push all out and make time on the others, they'd be right up, linked on to the bumper of the driver in front of them, but we've got some split strategies, even of those who are still on the track.
See Chris Wold right now. Chris currently running the 7th place position out here, running right behind Mike Stuyvesant in that number 20 Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. I believe he's in a different car every season. I believe he's in a Toyota this season. Yes, he is in that Toyota Tundra. Great looking car for that number 20 machine. I believe Mike just wanted some extra airtime on that Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network Chrome machine as he comes around here running a solid 6th place out here right now.
Yeah, I tell you what, between advertising the Cyber Thunder Broadcasting League and commissioning me to do the paint scheme, I think Mike knew what he was doing, buttering us up here in the booth, and well, it paid off.
So now we come down to just over 5 laps to go in the stage. Drivers that came on pit road a couple of laps ago, Chris Rose, Brad Holmes, all those guys, those drivers are about 36 seconds back as I hear the 92 coming on pit road, 89 coming on pit road, 42 coming on the pit road. So now let's take a look at your track map, and we're going to try to keep an eye on who is coming down on pit road and where they come off in relation to where they came on at.
Looks like the leaders are all going to get pulled down here. This looks like the entire pack, everyone who is left, from what I can see, all down on pit road. And That makes it quite interesting. We really kind of split the field into two here with the pit sequence, so we'll see who made the right call.
Highlighting Steven Music on the track map right now. Steven would be the current race leader as he comes around, and you can see Steven coming out of turn number 4 on the track map out there, trying to get to those drivers before they get off of pit road, see where the other drivers are at, and it looks like they're going to blend just about where they came. I don't know that they're going to get around most of them, but Steven's going to pick up a couple of spots from drivers on the apron down here.
Absolutely. I think if that train of 4 cars was one truck longer, they might have had a chance to get up there and kind of mix it up with the leaders. But I think another thing we're seeing here is the first couple of trucks, they got a much better pit sequence than everyone else in that group. We've got a little bit of a 3-truck breakaway up front in the form of Greg Mitchell, Gary Bowman, and Tanner Marr. And they're quite a bit ahead. They got 2 seconds on everyone else back here.
Yeah, Greg Mitchell and Gary Bowman had about 6-second pit stop. So that kind of differs from what we saw in the first round of green flag pit stops. Most of the first round of green flag pit stops we saw were 4 tires, 14 seconds up down pit road, 13 seconds up down pit road. These drivers that just came down, pit time, I see 6.3, 6.1, 5.7, 9.0. So several seconds faster, and you can see the difference that made. I mean, they came out just about 10 car lengths in front of this second pack here.
Absolutely, and I will say one thing we are seeing out of that pack that had pit a little bit earlier is that momentum did carry them around everyone on the pit exit. They have now caught up to the top 3 right here, and I would say that worked out pretty decently for the drivers who pit earlier in the race, at least the ones who were headed in that pack. They're up here now with these 3, and we're going to get about 6 cars up here at the moment, going for a stage win in stage number 2.
Yeah, Brad Holmes is the first driver to jump up on the outside line. One of the drivers that came down on the first round of green flag pit stops, he's going to get some help from that 48 bright yellow and black machine of Dwayne Young as they come through turns 1 and 2. Trying to drag the 07 of Chris Rose along as well. Don't think there's enough help up there on the top side right at this very moment.
Nope, and that's one of the interesting things when you get a pack that is about this size. It's about 10 trucks. Call it 10 right on the dot. When you're down to this few trucks in a pack, the momentum change from just a single truck choosing the outside or the inside makes all the difference in the world. If you've got the whole field together, it's a lot less noticeable. But you can do a lot with a little when there's this few trucks left in the pack.
Brad Holmes takes the race lead. He's got daylight out in front of that 00 Ford F-150. He's going to drop the elevator down to the inside line on the south end of the speedway.
3 wide.
Greg Mitchell
for a moment.
As they come into turn 1. Greg Mitchell right behind him, Gary Bowman. He left the 48 up on the outside.
That he did, and we saw a sketchy 3-wide moment between the 48 and the 07 at the bottom line, but they got it figured out, got it back going 2x2. Didn't want to go too crazy too soon as we are approaching the end of lap 48. Stage 2 does end at the conclusion of lap number 50, so we're getting ready to pay out the stage points for the second time this evening, and 00, 55, 48, all in a good position at the moment.
Seeing just 2 laps remaining in stage number 2 out here. Brad Holmes getting a push. Greg Mitchell. Tanner Marr has made his way up into position number 6 right now, up 14 spots from his qualifying position out here tonight. Biggest movers, Brad Holmes, 24 spots. Tanner, 14 spots. Larry Bell running back in 10th right now in position to get some stage points, plus 18 spots, so a lot of comers at the end of stage 2 here as we got a battle for the race lead. The outside lane is moving with the 48.
They absolutely are moving. A little bit of a close moment with Greg Mitchell getting left sides on the apron on entry there, but all is good. Off of turn 4, we are going to approach the 1 to go sign for stage number 2. Lap 50, here we go. Let's pay out some stage points. 00 leads the inside, 48 leads the outside, unless Chris Rose makes it 3 wide.
Oh, the 0, so that was so close on the entry of turn 1 down there. Almost an incident as the 48 left a lot of daylight open in the middle lane, and maybe trying to get some draft from Chris Lutz.
Oh, contact with the race leaders. Oh, we've got a number of trucks involved. This is the big one. Who's going to make it through and who collects themselves? Oh, my goodness. Number of trucks. Greg Mitchell Brad Holmes, Mike Syverson, Nathan Dufton, Larry Bell, a lot of drivers involved. Gonna wait to see how everything cycles out. At the moment, timing and scoring is showing Greg Mitchell as our Stage 2 winner, Tanner Marr in second place, but we'll see once everyone gets caught up and everything shakes out how it should, if that stands. All right, on the replay here, we've got Greg Mitchell diving to the outside and just a late block from the 00. Just a little too late on that one, causes a lot of carnage. The 48 had dived down to avoid everything and kind of collected some others by the looks of it as well. Looks like the 55 got through relatively unscathed, but tight battle for the stage win right there. Just goes a little bit wrong. Get another angle right here. Greg Mitchell shoots to the outside. 00 tries to block it. It's just too late. Gary Bowman gets collected by the 48 diving down there. A little bit of damage for the 4. And you can see everyone trying to make it through. Mike Stuyvesant gets a big hit right there. Nowhere to go. Lap car of Chris Letts in the 65 getting collected as well. And from there, it is just carnage. You're trying to get through this. You're trying to avoid it, but way easier said than done. We're going to see the 8 truck get another hit right there. Jump back live with our drivers here. Number of drivers involved. Up front, race leaders are going to peel it down. Onto pit road for the stage-ending caution right here. Greg Mitchell in the lead. Tanner Marr, Chris Rose, Steven Music, Philip Van Vliet, your top 5 as we enter pit road. Seemed like a lot of the drivers who got involved, maybe half or so, just got some minor damage, went sliding, maybe just got a little tag on a bumper here or there. And here at these drafting tracks, a lot of that smaller damage you can kind of get away with, especially if you're going to be pushing in the pack. Won't make as big of a difference as it would at a track like Homestead we go to next week, where it's a lot more aero dependent. And we can see a couple of these drivers taking some time under the caution here to sit in the pit stall and try to get some of that damage fixed. Gary Bowman, Andrew Caldwell, 2 names we've said a lot this evening. Up front, off of pit road, it's going to be Steven Music in the ghostly 09, who's going to be leading the field at this point. We've got the 07 bright red truck of Chris Rose, Ed Jurgen in 3rd, Greg Mitchell in 4th, and Tanner Marr running in 5th as we rack them back up and get ready for the final run to the finish. Looks like the back half of the top 10 as everyone gets situated. It's going to be the Lone Dutchman, Philip Van Vliet in 6th, Logan Spencer in 7th, Jaden Wicks in the 02 truck running in 8th, Lee Campbell had a quiet night so far, running in 9th, and Nathan Dufton rounding out our top 10 at the conclusion of that pit sequence under yellow. This was the first yellow for incident and also our stage 2 yellow at the same time this evening. It looks like we're going to have a couple drivers looking to come down pit road again, maybe top off some fuel, maybe get a little bit more damage fixed, or maybe just give up some track position and try and ride out the start of stage 3 right here. But the 07 and the 55 most notably diving back down on pit road. We'll see how long they're stopped for. The 89 came down as well. Jump back up on track.
It's an interesting strategy there, Arie, because you figure we got a couple of caution laps out here. They can run about 22, 23, maybe on the upwards of 25 laps. Some of these drivers may just be thinking about doing a one-stop race from here if they can make it to about lap 75, 76 to be safe.
Absolutely. That is, I didn't even think of that, Tom, but that's a perfect way to put it, because if you're Steven Music, if you're Ed Jurgen, you came down when you had the opportunity. You did not go back down to top off. If you want to make it on one more stop, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a stretch, and you're kind of in a tough spot. But if you just came down and topped off, you're in a much better position to do so. And we've seen that these races can very frequently end with a very long green flag run with some green flag pit stops to really break everything up. And if that's going to happen, you definitely want to be one of the drivers who came down and topped off and can make it more comfortably on a one stop. It'll be interesting, Tom. We'll see, but I like that call to come back down and top off.
See the field begin to check up or catch up behind the iRacing.com pace car. As the lights are off the iRacing.com pace car, and we're about to go racing for the third restart out here tonight. That did end our stage, so points were recorded in the midst of all those sparks flying across the screen. And we are going to run to the checkered flag.
Not a face we get to see leading the field to green all too often, Tom, but that 09 of Steven Music is going to be happy to see that green flag after the pace car pulls off. Ed Yergin to his outside as we get ready to start stage number 3. Green flag is in the air.
Green flag, green flag.
Early jump, totally legal by Steven Music as they come through. That puts a lot of separation on the inside line. That puts a lot of separation on the inside line between Steven Music and Tanner Marr.
That it does, and Tanner Marr is going to close up to the back of Steven Music, get right up on his bumper, comfortably in second place. Ed Yergin did not get a very good start to go with that great start by Steven Music. Finally going to get some momentum, and Tanner says, give me some of that outside line. I think Tanner Marr is going to try and get to the front of this pack and lead some laps here at Daytona this evening. Looks like Tanner Marr is going to jump back out to the outside, catch Ed Yergin's front bumper, and make sure that he leads this lap. Tanner may be going out of his way to lead a lap and get a point perhaps, but either way, he's got it now. The 09 in tow. Ed Yergin followed by the 60 of Lee Campbell leading that outside line, waiting for some help from behind, but it isn't there yet.
Yeah, Lee Campbell trying to push Ed Yergin on the outside lane. Got some help with Nathan Dufton coming to him, and Casey Tomlinson, one of the guests on last week's Thunderstruck. Casey Tomlinson up 23 spots, currently running the 9th spot out here. Casey having a really good run.
That he is, and I just caught a glimpse of how much damage is on the front of that 47 truck of Nathan Dufton, the third car on that outside, and I think that's why we're not seeing the outside line close up to those top two. I don't think that 47 is in great shape to be having that much open air on his front bumper, and I think with the 02 pulling out ahead of him, that might benefit that outside line a little better. That 47 might be trying to get to the bottom where he can just kind of ride and be pulled along just a little bit more, but some significant damage from that last wreck for the 47 of Nathan Dufton.
Yeah, you can see a big cave-in on the nose up there. That's not what you want here at a very aerodynamic track like Daytona.
Definitely not, and looks like that car is a handful even on the straightaways, as everyone's kind of, for the most part, single filed out. We've got some stragglers on the outside, and this might be the most tame that we've seen the race this evening here at the start of stage number 3. Is to the line we go. Lee Campbell in the 60, Ed Yergin in the 92. Advantage Lee across the line. And everyone starts to kind of figure out where they want to be and where they want to go here on lap 57 out of 100.
One driver that's been up here through the good and the bad of all the racing out here tonight, Arie, is Chris Rose. Chris currently running back in the 12th place position, currently in a 3-wide spot with Brad Holmes. As there's issues on the
contact
backstretch,
again.
Brad Holmes going to go around.
Brad Holmes down to the infield. Looks like no caution. And again, a truck is flipping up and over and around. So similar to Dave Gainforth's wreck a little bit earlier. 00 might be able to keep that truck going, but a bad night for Brad Holmes. Get a replay here going across the front bumper of Eric Anderson.
Very similar to what we saw out of the 101 machine. Brad Holmes up and over, no caution for the second time out here for a similar incident. You got to say it's off the racing surface as to why iRacing is not grabbing those incidents. But Brad Holmes landed on his wheels, and I got to say, after flipping that many times, doesn't look so bad.
No, it was 11 I counted, times that the roof of that truck pointed towards the sky, and, well, all of a sudden we're 3 wide for the race lead. I don't know what we missed in those 5 seconds we were gone, but Chris Rose got up there and wanted to take this race back over.
Yeah, Chris is having an exceptionally good race out here tonight for the 07 in the Angels Run 250. Very special race for Chris Rose as Chris takes over the 07 of former teammate and family member Angel Vasquez. Angel, one of our Cyber Thunder Racing League drivers out here tonight, did unfortunately pass away just 2 weeks ago at just the young age of just 20 years old. So Chris trying to run a special paint scheme and run up towards the front for his cousin Angel Vasquez, and doing it in memory as we take a look to the side of the 07. Got Long Live Angel on the windshield banner. But it reminds us of why sim racing is so much more than just a game here, Arie.
It absolutely does, and you know, the racing leagues that us drivers decide to take part in and us commentators decide to call, it's much more than that. It's much more than a competition or a league to race with. It kind of becomes a family in a lot of ways, and especially at a place here like Cyber with how friendly everyone is to one another, how much everyone knows each other and feels like they can trust each other, and it's really a close-knit community. And you know, when you lose a member, it feels like, you know, you did lose a friend, you lost someone you knew, and a kind of a piece of that family and of that group. So all of our thoughts and well wishes are with the Vasquez family, of course, and I think it's a really beautiful thing what Chris Rose is doing.
Yeah, and then, you know, Arie, I don't think that there's a better way to honor somebody's tribute than to come out here and battle for the race lead and race number 1 of the season. And the 07 has certainly found his way up towards the front all night long. He's got 40 laps to finish it out, and we'll see where the 07 winds up at the end of the night. But other drivers trying to make their mark as well. Lee Campbell, for the first time, up towards the front of the field and leading the race.
Absolutely, as we get a little bit of a blink out of the 02, and it looked like that scared Chris Rose behind the 07, dived to the bottom very quickly to avoid any kind of bad things happening. But we're going to go 3 wide, the 02 blinks again, and oh, he comes back upside down. That is just an unfortunate incident of internet connectivity causing some issues, I think, there, Tom. Yellow flag is out. The 07 of Chris Rose leading the field. Lee Campbell in second place. Casey Tomlinson in the 52 in third, as we await a replay to get queued up here on what exactly happened. But at the end of the day, folks, as much as we like to call these like the real thing, random, unexplainable technical difficulties can happen. And when you see a car blink out and just disappear from the track, that's their internet connection having a little bit of an issue with the iRacing servers, and you can see the 02 rather disappear, and by the time he comes back, the car is hooked on the 60. The 60 couldn't see him, he was gone. He couldn't see the 60 because he was disappeared. It's all sorts of crazy, and it's really unfortunate when this happens because it's nobody's fault. It's the internet connection, and it's unfortunate that there were some other drivers that got caught up in that incident right there. But one of the downsides to the virtual racing world, and I'm glad there wasn't more cars up towards the front to be collected in that, because that could have been a lot worse. Off of turn 4.
Yeah,
go ahead,
and in the lead pack with everybody right behind you and starting to push here. But so this still does not put us in the pit window.
That's a good point. It does not. This makes it a very comfortable one stop, and I think we're seeing everybody come down, probably even those who topped off before, because you might as well. I mean, those guys were already going to be a little close. You might as well come down, take the fuel. If you're one of the guys who topped off, this actually works against you because you gave up that track position, and now everyone else gets a free pit stop. So worked out well for those who stayed out. It doesn't often play that way, but it did tonight, and Lee Campbell going to beat Ed Jurgen off pit road here.
Couple of drivers still sitting on pit road. Looks like Andrew Caldwell still on pit road. Gary Bowman still on pit road. Believe they're getting some damage done on those 8 and 46 machines as they sit on pit road. They're still going to stay on the lead lap. They're still going to be okay. Just not exactly the position that they're going to want to be in with, well, we'll call it 30 to go. 35
Absolutely. We're going to have all of our drivers get their way back on the track, get lined up behind the pace car, and get sorted in the positions they need to be in. What do you say, Tom? We take a minute here while everyone re-racks and get ready for this final run to the finish. Take a quick commercial break. All right, lined them up 2 by 2, ready to get a restart going here. We're on lap 64, coming to 65 out of a 100 lap race this evening. Lee Campbell, Ed Jurgen, going to lead us back to green, and we've had a couple cautions now, a lot of time for a lot of those drivers involved in that last big incident to go and get the damage fixed. Tom, you think we're going to start to see a much more bunched together pack?
It's going to be difficult to say. I want to say no. Until we get to that final green flag stop, which we still got one more green flag stop at a minimum, or at a maximum, however you want to look at it, around lap number 90. That's probably about as far as they can go. And then from there, it's going to be a 10-lap sprint.
That it is, and what I love about that is you could run it out and just take a splash at the end. You could try to pit somewhere in the middle, maybe take 2 tires or so, and a lot of it's going to come down to who you have around you. How many friends do you have to pit with? We're going to find out, Tom, as the pace car pulls off, and Lee Campbell leads us into the restart zone. Back on the loud pedal we go. Let's figure out who our season opener, who the winner of our season opener is going to be.
Up through the gearboxes, 4 gears strong they come. Lee Campbell getting a push from Chris Rose on the inside line. Ed Jurgen and Chris Wold working the outside line as they come through nose by nose. It's turn number 1.
I tell you what, Tom, as we approach the back straightaway right here, everyone kind of getting up to speed. I see a truck that I have not said a single time tonight, up 17 positions, and now in the top 10, that 17 truck of Chris Mackey now making his way into the pictures. We got some sketchy stuff going on in the back of the pack right here.
Yeah, not sure what caused that stack up there. I believe it might have been something with the 27.
Very well could have been. I think I saw the 101 of Dave Gameforth back on track as well, getting a little slowed down.
Yeah, these drivers did a really good job to avoid a bigger incident, but big stack up in the back of the pack, and that's going to drop the drivers that we're looking at here to well behind the lead pack out here. It looks like maybe they're all lapped down to begin with anyway.
That it does, and we see Gary Bowman coming back out on track. Bowman down 8 laps from getting caught up in that big wreck a little earlier on. Meanwhile, back up front, it's Lee Campbell, it's Ed Jurgen, and on that second row, Chris Rose and Chris Wold. Got all of the Chris's to get one of those lines to prevail, but they're pretty even right now. We got a lot of trucks on that outside line.
Greg Mitchell involved in an earlier incident out here tonight, currently running in the 6th place position. Nathan Duffman got some damage fixed on that 47 machine. Still not a 10 out of 10 on that 47, but a lot better than what it was before. Kind of going in the right direction for that 47 machine. Don't think he's still going to be able to lead a line, but probably in a much better position to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Just fine in the pack. Just don't let that 47 lead a line. Don't get stuck behind him if he is. And I'm seeing a number of drivers, Tom, who are starting to make their way up towards the front. I mentioned the 17 a bit ago. See the 88 of Amanda Sherman. We have not said her name since qualifying or so. Now up here as well, Chris Wolden in the 32 finally in the picture. And a lot of these guys and gals are starting to, decide that it's go time. Let me get some track position. Let me get ready for this charge to the end and make sure I'm in a good spot.
On board with the 88 DeBoer wagon out of Williamson, New York. Amanda Sherman trying to get that 88 machine up towards the front. See him following Nathan Dufton right now, pushing the inside line here. A lot of throttle play in between the corners here, trying to still leave a little bit of room, not get into the back of the 47 if there is a checkup, but that's what happens the farther back you go. Up front, Ed and Lee, they're throttled down right now, 100%. There's no throttle play up there, but farther back you go, the more you hear this.
Absolutely. The further back you go, the bigger the runs you get, the more draft you have, the less air resistance, and it's a beautiful thing how the air works in racing, especially at tracks like this. And one thing I did learn pre-race is that Amanda took a lot of time yesterday to reconfigure her steering wheel settings and get that car to drive in a way that's much more comfortable. She mentioned that she feels a lot safer pushing people, being close in the draft, and a lot more comfortable with the settings that she's running. So I think that bodes well for that 88. And Amanda's one win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League did come at a drafting track in Talladega.
We got a 3-wide situation happening back here a little bit. See if we can't find it. Maybe they may have went 3-wide and said let's double file back up here, but did see a quick 3-wide back there in the middle of the backstretch. But great runs up here tonight for Chris Wold, Lee Campbell. Lee's one of the drivers that did not get a win last season. Lee's looking to come out of the gate strong here to begin 2025 season 2.
He absolutely is. Lee had a career best finish of 2nd place last season at Iowa on a fuel strategy race, and I think we could both agree, Tom, if we saw that 60 truck in victory lane at any time this season, it wouldn't be that much of a surprise. Lee kind of flies under the radar, but a very quick driver is Chris Rose on the 07 going to try and lead that outside line. He gets stuck in the middle, no help, but that's going to drag that bottom line back. That's a product of that side drafting right there. That's going to benefit that outside line quite a bit.
And you see Chris Rose got stuck up in the middle, and Ed Jurgen and Chris Wold, those drivers, they go to the front of the field here to begin lap number 71 in just a moment. But hold the phone, Ed Jurgen. Ed Jurgen trying to figure out which lane is coming in the middle, and the inside lane of the 07 is coming.
Absolutely. Tom, do you know what happened the last time Chris Wold pushed Ed Jurgen to the lead at a super speedway track?
We either wrecked or somebody won.
It was the Cyber. It was the Cyber 500 in February. I watched Chris Wold push Ed Jurgen past me to win the race off of turn 4, and those guys finished 1-2. They know how to get it done when they're tandem drafting, so watch out because they're linked up and they got a good line on that high side.
And you can see Chris Wold right now riding on the Boise State. That's is that Ohio? I don't know. Chris is going to yell
Idaho,
at me for
I think.
Idaho. I don't know. They're all the same. I don't even know where Idaho is on a map. Chris Wold making a really good run up on the outside, but hold the phone. Brad Holmes, he says, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to be the single car in the inside line, try to get some air from one of these 2 lines. I got 2 lanes to grab from and run up towards the front as he's making it work on his own up here for right now.
That he is, and Brad Holmes is about 4 or 5 laps down at the moment, trying to get one of those laps back the hard way, and make something happen, but it looks like he's just going to kind of get left in the middle right there. I think a lot of these drivers can see that he's a lap down car and deciding not to work with him, I should say, is Greg Mitchell and Philip Van Vliet are the 3rd and 4th cars on the outside. Tom, I really like the lineup of that outside. We got Caldwell, the 5th car back there. That's a good lineup. That bottom line's got some work to do. They've got Nathan Dufton in that damage 47, their 3rd car in line, and oftentimes that 3rd car can be oh so important for the momentum on either line, as Ed Jurgen is comfortably car length ahead of the bottom line entering turn 1.
So now, Arie, fair or foul here with, we're going to be looking at just over 25 laps to go. Brad Holmes, 5 laps down. Up here, it's not like you're going to get the free pass if a caution comes out right now and get back on the lead lap. If you're 5 laps down at this stage in the race, I don't know. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I think for me, it's fair if you're 1, maybe 2 laps down. If you're 2 laps down, you can get yourself within position to maybe be a lucky dog in the future. But anything beyond that, if it's me, I'm riding more towards the back. It's just a little too sketchy to be involved with the race leaders that many laps down. But that's another element of racing is there is no strict, black and white line on lap down cars and how hard they race the leader. So it's fully within his prerogative. It is a little interesting to see it at a plate track, though.
Yeah, I mean it's well within the legalities of racing. And it just, I know if I'm a lap down, the last thing that I want to do is cause an issue for the race leaders, the ones that are competing for the win. And when you put yourself in this kind of position, you open yourself to those kind of possibilities here. But holding his own right now in the middle line there. But what it's doing is it's dragging the top line back. Ed Jurgen losing 3, 4, 5 lanes on the inside line.
Absolutely, and that's one thing we'll see. If there's a single car in the middle, it usually benefits one of the bottom or top line, and it can kind of be inconsistent. At first, we saw it benefit the top side, and then we started to see it benefit the bottom line. They pulled away. They're finally going to allow the 00 to get in front of the 92 right there, get linked back up, and get that train moving, and that's going to put the 07 in a really interesting position. Chris Rose can lead that bottom line as the race leader and not worry about the truck who's leading the outside, because that truck is not on the lead lap.
Yeah, and what that essentially does, to kind of elaborate that on that a little bit, it now makes the outside line have to clear at minimum 2 trucks instead of just 1, unless Brad gets cleared and drops down in front of the 07, in which case it kind of benefits the outside line. So you kind of flip-flop which way it's going to benefit here, but right now, as it stands right now, the outside lane needs to clear at minimum 2 cars here. So it's like that Angel Vasquez truck of Chris Rose still holding strong out here with 25 laps to go in tonight's race as your race leader. The 00 up on the outside lane is several laps down. Ed Jurgen is the first car for position on the outside lane in the 92.
One thing I'm starting to notice, they've kind of broken up a little bit more on the bottom, but I was seeing for a bit there that some of the pushes on that bottom line were starting to get a lot more intense than what we were seeing earlier in the race. We're down to 24 laps remaining. There is 1 pit stop left to go, and I think that pay window is opening, Tom, and I think all of the drivers can see that. We still have a couple stragglers back at the back of this front pack here running single file. They still think there's going to be another wreck. They're waiting. They're ready for it. They're going to wait and time their charge towards the front, but this is this is where it gets intense. This is where the pushes get a little pushier.
The give and take turns into a grab and go as we begin to wind down the laps out here. 24 laps to go, so now we're within the top side, the high side of the fuel window. So we could see drivers go all the way for another 14 laps or so, or they could pit at any time.
They absolutely could, and I think if I had enough drivers that I felt confident we could get linked up post pit stop with really well, I might want to come down a little earlier and get that out of the way, because you won't go a lap down, and if there's a caution that comes out, the drivers who stayed out still got to come down, and you'll just leapfrog them for position. So in a position like this, coming to the end of the race, I actually quite like coming down a little early and getting that pit stop over with, and kind of forcing the hand of the others.
Well, the tail side of that quarter there, Arie, is that if you come down now, you're at the very threshold of that limit. You do not have enough fuel in your truck for possibly 3 green-white checkers. Drivers do have 3 green-white checkers out here. I think once you get down into that 17, 16, maybe 15 laps to go, that's probably going to be a more of the strategy that I would take. But the last thing that you want is to take the race lead by doing that strategy, and then having to come back down pit road on a green-white checkered and lose all that track position and the opportunity for the win.
You know what, Tom? You've convinced me. I'm buying into that strategy. I'm pitting with like 16 laps to go here, and whoever comes down before that, hey, more power to you if there's overtimes. But I like that. That's a good one. Is we see the 92 of Ed Jurgen now on that high side, getting a little more momentum. See if that high line can get back up there towards the front. They're broken up just a little bit. Bottom line's got a lot of trucks that are within close enough proximity to give them that momentum.
See Ed Jurgen making a big run up onto the outside. He's getting a push from Chris Wold right behind him as they enter into turn number 1. Battle for the race lead. 0-7 on the inside. That's Chris Rose. On the outside, Ed Jurgen, Chris Wold. Lee Campbell also up here. Lee Campbell having a solid night, qualified well up inside the top 10 and trying to close out these last 21 laps.
Got a couple of lap cars on the apron, going to stay out of the way of the pack as they all make their way by. Ed Jurgen with a nose out front, but I like the position Chris Rose is in. He's very aggressive at these tracks. He knows what to do when it comes to drafting, and he's found his way. I would say on average, he's probably had the highest average running position tonight, Tom. He's stayed towards the front at all times. If he's gotten buried back there, he's gotten back up pretty quick, and I like what I'm seeing out of that 0-7 tonight.
Kept his nose clean. I don't think there's a scratch on that truck. Very good opening night for that 0-7 machine. Does he have what it takes to put that red and black truck into victory lane out here tonight? 20 laps will tell us the answer to that, as there's still 17, maybe 20 cars on the lead lap out here. 17 cars on the lead lap. Leaders pitting this time, Chris Rose, and the 5 pitting this time, Arie.
This is going to be really interesting. We've got a lot of cars on the outside. Are any of those guys going to try and make their way down at the same time? Are they just going to stay out? Looks like we've only got 6 or 7 trucks coming in right here. Call it 7. They all get on very clean.
That's what I was just about to notate. I like the look of that pit road entry for this entire pack out here. They came down tight. They came down clean. Nobody got into each other. Didn't see a single brake lockup through that entire pack. So now this doesn't necessarily force the hands of the 92 and the 32 and the 80 and the 89 behind them, but it does put them in a position that if a caution were to come out right now, they need to pit. The other drivers, they're good to go.
Absolutely. It might not force their hand, but it's forcing them to think about it and wonder what they're going to do. We see the 88 of Amanda Sherman backing up quite a ways off of the rear bumper of the 89 of Philip Van Vliet. Looks like we're gonna get a couple drivers pulling off right there, but just a couple stragglers. The 19 gets a little sideways, keeps it going.
I would say Brad looks hot there. I want to see if Brad gets a speeding penalty. Brad looked like he came down really fast on the pit road. Pit road speed limit, 60 miles an hour is what these drivers have to get down to, from about 188 miles an hour down onto pit road.
We see our race leaders here, Ed Jurgen making their way past a couple of cars that are about to go lap down. Andrew Caldwell in the 46 and the 27 as well. I'm trying to see how many, if that's just one lap down. That is a couple laps down for each of these guys, as a matter of fact. Theodore Todorov in the 27 as well.
32 coming in this time, so the additional leaders coming down pit road. This is the Lounge Racing Group, Chris Wold, Ed Jurgen. I expect to see Gary Bowman somewhere in this mix. Greg Mitchell and Carter Lawson right behind him. 4 cars on pit road.
Tell you what, Greg Mitchell got in real hot, but I do think he got it slowed down in time, made up a lot of time with how close that one was. 4 trucks is interesting. I would like to see a couple more if I'm going to come down in a group, because look at these guys right here. This pack of now 6. Now, they do unfortunately have the damaged 47 leading this train. That could hinder their chances, but they are linked up extremely well. And I really like the look of this, Tom, if you're these 6 right here.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm the 47, the 60, the 5, the 42, the 41, the 07, stay in line. we do not have to go anywhere from right now. We are waiting for the next group of drivers to come down on pit road. That group that we just looked at, they're currently running a 10th through 15th on the track right now. Ed Jurgen, Chris Wold, Greg Mitchell, they're going to come out maybe about a 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds in front of that group, but they've got a much better and a much more formed line. I
Absolutely.
think that group of 6 will catch these.
They
group here,
should.
and they're going to go right on around them once they.
We could see the 92 of Ed Jurgen. He was slowing down a bit. They need to get linked up. They spent too long not being linked up, those 3 trucks. And another thing we saw was this line dumped the 47. Nathan Dufton out of the way, and that's going to allow undamaged trucks to lead that line. Now these guys are going to be getting fully up to speed. That 92 is going to catch up to the back of them, and I don't know if this pack is going to catch them right away. They do have the advantage of more trucks, but I would like to see the 3rd and 4th truck close up just a little bit more.
Leaders on pit road, so this is the last group of drivers that have not yet pitted, making their way down onto pit road. Now we're going to take a look at the track map, and we're gonna watch Chris Wold, and Phil Van Vliet.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see Chris Wold and company get the lead here. I think that pack just got too broken up to advantage the likes of Phil Van Vliet, Amanda Sherman, who just came down, and I think by the time we get out of turn 2. They're going to fall a bit behind the this little pack of race leaders here.
Yeah, I would agree. And this is probably going to set us up to be about, at first, it's going to be about an 8-car length battle for the win. What that second pack of about 6 cars does is going to be very interesting because they are there. They are now going around the outside of Chris Mackey. Who else is that back there? But they're coming. They're almost here. Another lap or 2, and we're going to have ourselves 12, 15 cars for the race.
Absolutely. We need these cars to get formed back up, get these packs connected together once again. I think it's a benefit that this elite pack has so few cars in it. For the rest of the field, it is a benefit, I should say. And Chris Wold leads at the moment with 14 laps to go, but the rest of the field, they're getting linked up, they're getting formed, they're getting that momentum, and they're coming.
On board right now with Lee Campbell, driver number 60, and you can see just how close Lee Campbell is to catching the draft from, is that Carter Lawson directly in front of him?
That is.
Truck, it might be.
And Carter Lawson in that purple truck, he is 1 lap down, so he is in a position to get the free pass if a caution comes out. But it's important to know that that bright purple 98 is not on the lead lap contending for the lead at the moment.
And they're catching him. Another lap.
Oh yeah. I love to be in this position that Lee Campbell is in. We're riding on board. This is a great shot. When you get the draft of the guys in front of you and you have some help behind you, you are flying. I tell you what, Tom, you might have been about to say it, but he doesn't have help behind him. He just went up there and did it himself.
That's what I was just about to say. Lee Campbell doing this kind of all on his own right now. Now, the problem that poses for Lee Campbell is that typically when you have this big of a run, you would jump to the outside and you would try to take that momentum and carry it around the outside lane of the top drivers here. Doesn't have that luxury of doing that right now because he doesn't have anybody behind him. I think the next group that has that opportunity to do it is going to be the 5, the 07, the 41. When they get there, it's going to be interesting to see if they decide to fall in line, as it's probably going to be about 10 laps to go, maybe one more lap as well. Well, maybe it's 12 laps to go, as they're there now, and Lee Campbell jumps up.
Absolutely. I think Lee was just waiting for his drafted buddies to get back up there and have a go at these race leaders, but it's no longer single file time, it's go time, and I think everyone's starting to get that idea as Ed Jurgen jumps out to the outside as well, wants a little piece of that momentum as we've got a pack of... Ed Jurgen into the wall! Lee Campbell into the wall. Caution is out. 3 trucks involved, including the lap truck of Carter Lawson. Heavy damage for the 92 of Ed Jurgen and a shuffle for the lead. Gonna have to get a replay on this one. That changes everything. We're going to see a push here from the 60, and it's just a weird push at a weird time. Ed was kind of on the high side, kind of still in the middle, and I look like Lee was maybe trying to get to that gap. I'm not sure if we can get maybe an onboard or so from the 60 truck, but looks like another case of a couple drivers just coming together at the wrong place and wrong time. And unfortunately, it looks like the 92 probably got the worst end of that deal. Get another shot here of what happened. We can see the 60. Oh, it didn't even go for the middle. Lee Campbell in the 60 just gave Ed a shot, and it was at an awkward angle on the left side of that rear bumper, and that sends the 92 of Ed Jurgen right hooking into the wall right there. That is just a product of late race battling in the draft here at a super speedway track. He had a lot of momentum, the 60, got into the back of the 92, and with that much momentum, a push on that spot right there is just going to send that 92 into the wall. Got to be a little more square on the bumper, but there's only so much you can do when you're getting pushed so quickly from behind. Sometimes you are just along for the ride, like I would say the 60 was in that case, and unfortunately the 92 gets the bad end of that deal, but super speedway racing at its finest. Got a number of cars pulling down on pit road. One thing this does do is bring everybody back into the fray. Everyone who had lost the draft, everyone whose green flag pit sequence maybe didn't go to plan, they're all going to be back up there. They're all going to be connected to the lead draft, and they're all going to have a shot. As we run right now, Chris Wold in the 32 truck. Our race leader, Greg Mitchell, in second place, was loving how that was shaping up until the caution came out. The 55 did not want to see that. We've got Andy Cork in the 41, running in a podium position. We've got a new face to the league in the 5 truck, Jared Anderson, up 17 positions, running in 4th. And lone Dutchman, Philip Van Vliet, scored a lot of stage points tonight, running in 5th. At the time of this caution, I think we saw a lot of drivers in the back half of the field elect to come down, maybe take some extra fuel. They know they didn't have the track position as it was, maybe get some tires, improve that handling just a little bit. Won't make a world of a difference here, but it might just make enough of a difference, and sometimes that's all you need.
So back here, lights are still on the iRacing.com pace car. Probably going to be seeing a shootout with about 8 laps to go. A couple of cars came down on pit road. That most recent time, Ed Jurgen got some damage after running so well. Nathan Dufton, Logan Spencer, Carter Lawson. All drivers on pit road here, Arie, is we get set to go for a restart within 10 laps to go.
That we do, and we've got an interesting bunch of faces up here, Tom. We've got quite the top 5 at the moment. We've got a new face in there. We've got some old faces. We've got just about everything you could ask for, and as they're running right now, I do really like the position that Greg Mitchell is in right now, in second in that 55 car. I like being there, but I don't like restarting on the outside line, especially if that 32 gets a really good launch. I think a lot of what we're about to see is going to come down to Andy Cork in that 41. How good of a launch does third place get to maybe push the leader out just a little bit?
Well, Arie, raced 100 laps. Now we're going to have an 8-lap shootout up here. Who do you got making a strong run and a charge for the finish of the race and finding themselves up towards the front? Who's your sleeper of tonight?
I think my sleeper for tonight, I don't even know if we can call him a sleeper after the performance we saw in stage 1 and 2, but the 89 truck, Philip Van Vliet, lone Dutchman, has shown a lot of speed tonight. He's shown that he knows how to get up to the front when he wants to be. And, well, right now you want to be. He's sitting in 6th place right now on the scoreboard. But I think he's going to be restarting 3rd truck on the bottom line right there, which might just benefit him as well. I think in terms of sleepers, I like the 89. I like Philip Van Vliet. But in terms of those who might do it with a little bit more flair, I got my eyes on that 07, Tom, if I'm being honest. Chris Rose has put on a performance tonight.
And this would be Chris Rose's first career win here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. It would also be Andy Cork's first win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. The veteran driver in that blue and white number 41, second car on the inside line. 200 plus starts around here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, trying to make names for himself out here tonight.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, 3rd place through 7th place are all looking for their first career Cyber win. Got a lot of potential here, Tom. Pace car is off. Chris Wold, Greg Mitchell going to lead us to the green. Loud pedals down. 8 laps to go at the line.
8 laps to go at the line. Chris Wold waited a little bit on that restart zone. That's going to allow the outside line to stay pretty even with them as they enter into turn number 1. Down here, they all race side by side into turn number 1. And I tell you what, I like that outside line right now. It's got some great momentum coming through. But Chris Wold continues to lead down the backstretch.
It absolutely does, and that outside line, you weren't kidding, Tom. That outside line is hooked up. They are going places. All 3 of those trucks got some red on them, and I don't know. But them matching might add a little bit of speed. At least it adds style points in my book. We've got the 55, the 5, the 07 leading the outside. Chris Wold nose ahead on the bottom, but I think at the line, it's going to be the outside advantage. Look at the amount of trucks linked up there.
This time by Greg Mitchell, pokes his nose out at the start-finish line to lead that lap as we take 7 laps to go here from the Angels Run 250. Out here in Daytona Beach, Florida out here tonight, Greg Mitchell's a little bit of separation on the outside line. Think the bottom lane is more formed up than the bottom lane, but they get a great run out of the exit of turn number 2 as we're going to see the momentum come from the 5 to the 55 down the backstretch here.
Absolutely, and one thing we're starting to see is a lot more pushing in the middle of the corners as well. You've got to keep that momentum up. You've got to keep your line moving forward. Don't want to get caught too far back, and we're seeing that bottom line start to kind of get it together a little bit better. We're going to see what happens if Andy Cork in 2nd place can get clear of that outside line. I don't think Greg Mitchell's going to allow that to happen too easily. I think if I'm the 55, I'm doing everything I can to side draft those leaders and keep myself in a good position.
Big wiggles from the 5 there as they come across the start-finish line through the tri-oval, where the truck gets the lightest through this entire 2.5 miles through the speedway. 5 got light. That's going to break up the outside line just a little bit. But a little bit of daylight and separation on the bottom line, that's going to give the momentum. And the opportunity for the outside lane here is the outside's got a big push from the 5 to the 55, but they're moving around a lot. We may see
5 gets shuffled out of line. Yeah, we're getting some aggressive pushes from Chris Rose in the 07. That's going to keep the 5 car out of line, keeps it up towards the wall, very heads-up racing from the 5, and avoids a bigger incident. Unfortunate for his race. And what this is also going to do is hinder Greg Mitchell's race. There are now 2 cars up front clear. The outside line is going to get a little bit more of a run. Is Andy Cork going to take that chance? He's not. He's going to stay behind Chris Wold, who leads this race. And that outside line, right back at it.
It's a game of waiting. You could take every run in the book that you possibly can, but when you've got somebody good to run with out here, it certainly helps your line.
It absolutely does. As we've got some antsy trucks, they're moving side to side, they're getting pushes, they're giving pushes. We are in under 5 laps to go at the line. It's gonna be 4. As we look to wind down the season opener here, everything is ramped up. These drivers are all operating at 100%. Chris Wold leads across the line. Greg Mitchell trying to pull that outside line back up, trying to have a shot. But at the moment, that bottom line's got it figured out.
And if I'm Andy Cork right here, I'm kind of setting myself up, trying to get myself in front of that 55 machine. If I'm Greg, I know Andy, I trust the 41. It's just a matter of trying to get that 41 clear enough to jump up in front of the 55. I think if Andy has that opportunity, Greg is comfortable enough with Andy that he would be comfortable pushing the 41 and not stick him in a toxic 3-wide situation where he's just going to go backwards. But with 3 laps to go here as they come out turn number 4, all that goes out the window. You're going for yourself.
Absolutely right. And one thing I'm keeping in mind for Greg Mitchell's sake is that 07 on his bumper. That 07 is not afraid to push at any point of the track. You got to be ready for those pushes, and you got to be ready for a nose to potentially stick it 3 wide on you. if you let him. We are down to 3 laps to go as we exit turn number 2. Outside line's going to have a big run of momentum right here. The 41's going to try and keep the bottom line going, but look at the outside line. 3-4 trucks in a row, all nose to tail. Greg Mitchell almost clears the bottom, but not quite.
This time by, we're going to see the popsicle sticks up in the air. You see Chris Rose jumping up a little bit, probably cooling off that engine a little bit from that big push down the backstretch, and try to reset for the white flag lap coming in just 2.5 miles out here. 2 laps to go from Daytona.
Nearly 3 wide in the back. Everyone keeps it going. A little sketchy, but we are moving. Andy Cork, hooks the 32, the 55 into the wall. All the race leaders getting collected. Who even made it through? Chris rolled up and over around. Tanner Marvov, the 27, the 32, the 46. Unbelievable. With under 3 laps to go, Tom, we're gonna need a couple shots of that one. This is what you get at super speedways, going for the win. Everyone is pushing all out. The opportunity is there, winning at the biggest track under the brightest lights. We see Andy Cork in the 41 pushing the 32. Greg Mitchell is right there. The 41 gets detached for just long enough. I don't even think the 41 was really trying to go 3 wide. Just got detached for long enough to hook the 32 into the 55, and everyone behind just had nowhere to go. You could see cars up and over, cars backwards, cars in the wall, cars in the grass, cars in other cars, and everyone is just riding along for that one right there. That might be even bigger than the earlier incident this evening. Unfortunate for a number of drivers who are having a fantastic run tonight. This is going to completely shake up the entire running order of the race. As timing and scoring has it right now, Philip Van Vliet in the 89 Lone Dutchman is, I believe, our race leader, followed by Leroy Koblenz in the 42, driver of the 61 last season, new number for Leroy. In third place, Eric Anderson, driver of the 43. The timing and scoring is a little messed up tonight. It says number 9, but we promise Eric is in the 43 this evening. Logan Spencer in the 19, and that damaged 47, Nathan Dufton, somehow all the way up into the top 5, running in 5th, and this is going to be our first attempt at overtime. We have a little bit of a graphic right here for overtime. Here's how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 attempts at an overtime finish, and that is when the race needs to go longer than the scheduled distance because of cautions. If the leader takes the white flag, the race is official. On the restart, there will be 2 laps to go. You'll have a green flag lap, and if you make it one entire lap in which the leader receives the white flag, it is official. If the yellow flag comes out before the leader gets the white flag, we re-rack them and we try again. We only get 3 attempts, and if we use all of those allotments and a caution comes out, that will end the race. But we often don't have to worry about using all of our allotments. We'll see. It's the season opener. The lights are bright, and the chaos is as high as it's ever been. One thing I'm noticing right here, our race leader, Philip Van Vliet, got some significant damage on the rear bumper from that wreck, from that incident just now. You can see that spoiler is bent in right in the middle, kind of a diagonal right there. Now, if anything, I wonder if that might benefit Philip. Maybe that's a little bit of a lower drag configuration. That spoiler is kind of a little more angled with the direction of the wind that you'll be pushing out of the way. So that's a really interesting thing. I've never seen anything like that. The spoiler isn't really pushed up at all, which would be kind of a parachute, and it might hurt the handling in the corners for Philip Van Vliet, but down the straightaway, that truck might just have a little bit of a speed advantage, and that might play out well into his favor. Eric Anderson's going to be leading the outside line on the restart here, assuming Philip stays on the bottom. We'll see, of course, what he chooses. The leader has lane choice, but I'm paying attention to that 47 if I'm Philip Van Vliet. I know that 47's got damage, and I don't want that 47 behind me. Nothing against Nathan Dufton, of course, but a damaged truck is not as fast as a clean truck, and we've got quite the shaken up field right here. That much is for certain. Chris Wold, who got right hooked there, is still running in 7th position. Must not have gotten too bad of damage out of that incident right there. That's a little bit of a shocker, but we have seen it all tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen it all tonight. We're going to get ready to rack them back up for our first green-white checkered attempt.
You want a fun little stat on the fly here, Arie? None of your top 10, 11, 12, your top 12 drivers running right now did not win a race last season. You think they're hungry for a win?
I think they are. I will say, however, I don't want to rain on your parade, but we did see a Tanner Marr victory at Talladega. However, everyone else, you got a good point there, Tom. You got a good point. We got a lot of hungry names right here. Philip Van Vliet has come so close on a number of occasions here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, but the Lone Dutchman has not won a race. And that is very hard for me to believe because Philip is fast enough to win races, and he can definitely do it at these plate tracks. So we'll keep an eye on that 89. That 43 is looking to break a big win this streak. Eric Anderson got that truck in position, and I'm excited, Tom. This is how we do it in Cyber Thunder Racing League.
Well, we're about to find out who's going to take the first checkered flag of the 2025 Season 2 season. Out here tonight, underneath the lights from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, we're going to see 2 laps to go as we are just about ready to wrap up tonight.
A little bit of lawn mowing from Casey Tomlinson down there.
Yeah, it looks like the field trying to figure out exactly where they're supposed to be here on this restart. Couple of drivers still trying to figure that out, but the lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car. We're about to settle this once and for all on tonight's event.
Absolutely. This is going to be our first attempt at overtime. The overtime rules have been explained. We are ready to use as many of them as we need. Pace car is going to get ready to pull down, and we're going to have Philip Van Vliet in the 89 in control of this field. Eric Anderson in that bright blue 43 leading the outside line. Pace car is going to get ready to pull down, and we are going to get ready to crown our first winner of the season.
Into the Geico restart zone they go. Phil Van Vliet is the first one to the loud pedal. Puts a lot of daylight in between him and second and third place. Eric Anderson, Logan Spencer. Logan Spencer, name we haven't said a whole lot out here tonight, up 28 spots from his qualifying position. On the inside line, position number 3, in a great spot out here, but hold the phone. Here comes that petty blue truck of Eric Anderson. First time in a Ford for that 43 machine and looking for the lead.
Absolutely. First time in a Ford, making a count. That outside line has got some momentum. Eric Anderson is clear. Going to stay on the outside. Oh, we've got contact. The 4 and the 47. Going to collect the 07. And up and over. Caution is out. Chris Rose going for a wild ride. Tanner Marr and the 47 of Nathan Dufton. Oh, Brad Holmes getting in there in the last little bits of it. We're going to re-rack him again. All right, get our replay going right here. We see it looks like the 47 pushed the 43 and received a push at just the right time to cause this chain reaction right here. The 47's momentum got transferred into the 43. What that does is slow the 47 down right before he gets a push from the 4. His momentum being slowed as the 4 hits him sends that 47 all out of control, and that is another product of super speedway racing at its best. With the amount of pushes that are happening this late in the race, all it takes is an instance like that where a push happens at the wrong time, and it's just enough to cause a chain reaction like we just saw right there. Unfortunate for a lot of the drivers who were involved in that one right there. We had some drivers up there who were looking to go up there and make a statement, having a good run tonight. And it's I don't even know anymore, Tom. There's so many names in it and out of it and back in it, and who even knows? Chris Wold's back up to 6th. Mitchell's back up to 9th.
I tell you what, Eric Anderson. If I'm Eric Anderson, I hated to see that caution because that 43 machine was going to the front. Untimely caution, and the way that the yellow flag flies does put him back into 3rd place, make it 2nd place as Logan Spencer
look at this
comes on pit road. Yeah,
this might be a product. Logan Spencer may have gone a little damaged, but I think what this might be is Logan Spencer being one of the drivers who pit early under that green flag sequence. Logan Spencer might not have had enough fuel for all of the overtime attempts. Like you were saying, it's something that might come into play, and it absolutely has come into play. This is going to be green and white checkered attempt number 2. So you better hope that you packed it full of fuel the last time you pit, presumably under green for a lot of these race leaders. One thing I will say is Philip Van Vliet was a part of the crowd that pit last. So Philip Van Vliet, out of all of the leaders, I would expect to be the best on fuel. And being the race leader, I think that bodes extremely well for the 89. I think putting the 43 back on the outside is... You know, Tom, I don't actually know how to feel about that, because Eric Anderson can lead a line around a super speedway track, and... I don't know. I might prefer Eric Anderson to be stuck behind me on the bottom, if anything.
Well, if you're Eric Anderson here, Arie, as we get settled now for our second green-white checkered attempt, if you're Eric Anderson, what did you just pick up on that last restart that you're going to maybe do the same, maybe do a little bit different here on this next restart? I know... if I'm Eric Anderson, I'm definitely, or if I'm Philip, I'm definitely taking the outside, because the 0-2, we've seen connection issues out of the 0-2 all night tonight. I want somebody that I can trust behind me, and I would take the 42 of Leroy Koblenz right behind me to push me down into turn number 1. So it would be interesting to see if Philip does the same thing.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, Tom, and to add on to that, you know, Philip Van Vliet and Eric Anderson, they've raced around Leroy Koblenz a lot last season. This is their first race with Jaden Wicks. So not only is there connection issues for the 0-2, this is their only race experience they have with that truck, and that just kind of adds more fuel to the fire. It looks like Philip Van Vliet is going to stay on the bottom. Looks like Eric Anderson wanted the bottom, but he's going to have to go up top,
Yeah.
And if I'm the 43, I like having the 42 behind me.
You know what else that does? It lines teammates up, Arie. The 42, the 43, those are teammates out of the Graybeard Racing Camp. Also, we're going to talk about it on Thunderstruck next week. Casey Tomlinson running in 6th place out here.
How about that?
On what may be the final restart out here tonight. Casey Tomlinson, that number 52 machine, 3rd row on the outside in that red and yellow and orange and all sorts of colors, 52 Chevy Silverado. Casey also looking for his first career win.
You know, Tom, if those colors were a little more tame and I could see the features on that truck a little bit better, I dare say Casey Tomlinson's got the cleanest truck on track. Either way, this could be a career night for the 52 of Casey Tomlinson, who I think would be a popular surprise winner should that happen. But we're re-racking them. We're getting ready. I don't even know who's all remaining left in the race without damage and with a shot. But I tell you one thing's for sure. I like the 89. I like the 43. It's going to come down to the help from behind.
Well, we're about to find out here, Arie, as we are set to go. 2 laps to go in our second green-white checkered attempt out here. But I like the looks of that outside line that we were just talking about. Leroy Koblenz, Eric Anderson, Philip Van Vliet, and Jaden Wicks into the restart zone, and up they come. And here comes the 43 and the 42. Lots of separation on the bottom line.
Absolutely, and it looked like Jaden got a really good restart there, but those teammates, they are locked together, and they're going to have the advantage of being teammates, of course. They are going to be in lockstep going for it, and it looks like Jaden Wicks is going to abandon Philip Van Vliet, but here comes Casey Tomlinson to the bottom to try and give Philip that push he needs. Graybeard Racing, 1-2, down to the bottom. Eric Anderson leading down the backstretch.
Here comes Eric Anderson into turn number 3. As they enter into turn number 3 out here, got his teammate Leroy Koblenz behind him. Phil Van Vliet now running in 3rd. Casey Tomlinson running in 4th. And Chris Wold, strong truck from earlier, rounding out the top 5 is we're going to see the white flag. This time is going to be 1 lap to go here from Daytona.
Across the line we go. White flag is out. This race is official. Philip Van Vliet trying desperately to find some help from behind. But Eric Anderson and Leroy Koblenz have control of this lead. Can anyone get up there to help 3rd or 4th place mount a charge as we exit turn number 2 and head on to the backstretch?
I like the look for the 43 and the 42 right now. I don't think Leroy's going to do anything super crazy. That's his teammate in front of him, and Philip doesn't have a whole lot of help coming from behind him in that 52, but here comes the 52, pushing that 89 just the tiniest a bit, but we may see a Graybeard 1-2 here as Eric slides halfway up the track to block the 42.
It's now or never. Philip Van Vliet's got the run. He's going to take it to the outside. Can he get enough momentum? Leroy to the bottom. He can't find it. Eric is slowed down to the line. Eric Anderson wins the season opener at Daytona International Speedway. Winless streak no more. Driver 43. What a finish. What a race, Tom. That is going to be a very popular win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Eric Anderson, one of our longest tenured drivers, has been fighting tooth and nail to get some speed, figure out what he's got to do to contend for wins. Had a great run towards the last part of 2025-1 this previous season. What a way to go out and start the season with a photo finish victory over the lone Dutchman, Philip Van Vliet, who had a great charge at the end, coming up just 1 spot short. Oh, so close yet again for the 89. Just didn't have the help in time to make it happen. Great result for Casey Tomlinson in the 52. Career best result, going to get a 3rd place, finishing on the podium, just edging out Leroy Koblenz at the line. Casey Tomlinson in 3rd, Tom. How about that?
How about it? We're going to step away for just about 30 seconds or so. We're going to gather ourselves, get our top 3 up here, and we'll be back for your full post-race show with your interviews.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have got our 3rd place finisher. I've caught up with Casey Tomlinson, driver of the 52. Casey, career best Cyber Thunder Racing League finish with a podium here in the season opener at Daytona. Just needed a little bit more at the end, but walk us through the finish and walk us through your race.
I had a wild one. I thought I was out when I got wrecked, but I made it. I didn't give up. I fixed the car. I had to help what's the number that was in front of me? I had to help. I just helped him, and it worked. So
yeah, you had the 89 of Philip Van Vliet in front of you. It looked like you guys had a good enough charge at the end to maybe get there, but I think it looked like you guys just needed a little more help from behind.
Yeah, but at least I gave it my all. So
you absolutely did. That was a
sponsor.
It was tonight's race was sponsored by Brian Dorsey, who unfortunately could not make it. This race was a memorial to our lost friend Angel Vasquez tonight.
Thanks for the sponsor. You all too in the booth. But man, that's a good finish for me.
Absolutely was. Congratulations on a night well done, Casey. We will let you go celebrate with those you will. And I think that my good friend Tom here has caught up with 2nd place finisher.
Yeah, we've got the 89, the lone Dutchman, out here tonight. New colors for Philip Van Vliet, and first time those new colors see the track, they see a 2nd place podium finish for Philip. Philip, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Yeah, I mean, What a great run for the 89. We saw moments of opportunity. We saw moments I was like, oh man, Philip is done for the night. And then you come up here, finish second, kind of bring us through those last couple of crazy restarts that you saw.
Yeah, I was good on fuel until the last restart. I was going to be short. I'm glad Eric and I forget who was behind Eric got in front of me. I got a little bit of a tow there on the white flag lap, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. I thought I was done for earlier with the damage I got, but that caution came out. I was able to get it fixed. So, but yeah, all in all, I mean, first podium finish at here and everything. So it's working out all right. I even got some stage points for the first time in a long time.
Well, you had a great finish out here tonight, some great stage points. That's going to set you up well for the point standings after tonight. No winning in this current season. Are you approaching this season any differently than you did maybe the previous seasons you've raced here, knowing that consistency gets you into the playoffs? What do we expect to see from that 89 over these next 22 races?
Yeah, I was all for doing away with the win and in, but now I'm going to have to actually race for stage points and be a little bit more aggressive. So I think that worked out tonight. So yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Well, congratulations on a well-earned podium out here tonight, Philip. Well raced. We're going to open up the floor for you here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Allow you to thank, say hello to, say I love you to anybody you want to thank on the side of that number 89 or back at home.
Yeah, I want to first thank my wife for letting me do this thing. She's all encouraging. She does all the dog stuff, so I get to do this. So kind of a trade-off. Sponsors of the race tonight, I want to thank them. You guys up in the booth, I'll be looking forward to watching that first broadcast you guys have done. That's going to be great. I also want to thank my teammates, Amanda and Corey, for helping me out here down the stretch. It was a blast,
Well, we look to see the 89 up front for the remainder of the rest of the season, making a name for yourself in the first race of 2025 season 2. So congratulations on a great run. Let you go debrief with that team and put that truck back up on the hauler, and we'll see you next week at Homestead.
Thank you very much.
All right, and kicking him out of here. Oh, we're never going to hear the end of this one. Arie, you got Eric, the big winner, out here tonight.
Oh, that I do. Driver of the 43 truck, Eric Anderson, you are a winner at Daytona. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good. It's been a while since I've been up here, and it was good to get another one in my belt. It looks like my strategy of laying back seemed to work pretty well. Things just kind of opened up for me late.
That it did. It absolutely did. Walk me through your race. You mentioned it just now, but we didn't really see that 43 truck a lot until late in the race when the pay window was starting to open, and you kind of found your way up there. You and Leroy both for Graybeard, and Andy was up there at one point as well. You guys kind of had it figured out tonight.
Just laying back kind of gave us that edge earlier. Some of the guys on the team were up there earlier, and I think they ran into some problems. But I lost the draft a couple of times staying back. A couple of cautions come out where I got out of the gas, and the caution didn't throw, so I lost a lot of room there driving. I just had to drive it out. And then the beginning of the third stage, I said, we're gonna roll now, because there was only 23, 24 cars on the lead lap. So I said, I'm happy with that finish if something happens. So I decided just see what I could do.
Absolutely. Well, Eric, you spent the second half of last season finding a lot of speed and trying to figure out, what it was going to take to get that 43 truck into victory lane. And you're going to come out here in the season opener and get it done, put that truck in victory lane, get that monkey off your back. How do you feel like this bodes going into the season as a whole, and what kind of momentum you've got now?
Well, I just can't do any stupid mistakes. I'm a pretty good points racer. I usually can maneuver around the stuff and get a decent finish. So if I can just keep popping off top 10s and staying in and out of stupid trouble, I think I'll be able to do some good.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing what else that 43 car can do. I'm going to open up the floor to you, Eric. Who do you got to thank for a job well done tonight, putting that truck back in victory lane?
Well, all the guys on Graybeard, we have a good time over here. We're not the best, but we have a ball with Andy and Leroy, and our newcomer, Hall of Famer Dave, Gainforth is with us tonight. He's had some technical issues tonight, some wheel problems, so he kind of fought it pretty hard tonight. I want to thank Brian Dorsey for putting up and sponsoring the race for us tonight, for you and Tom to do the call tonight. It'll be exciting to go back for me and watch it, because it's been a while since I was in anything near the end, so I'll enjoy that. And all the cyber admins and everybody that keeps this place running. It takes a lot of work for all y'all to keep this thing going. And I'd like to say hi to my mother and my sister who's out there watching. They watch every race, and it's going to be fun to see what they think about the new broadcast team.
Absolutely. Well, there we have it. We'll let Eric get back to celebrate with everyone on the team over there at Graybeard, and I think this is quite a popular win, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric, long time from his last win. Good to see some first-time winners up here. Eric Anderson takes the big black and white checkered flag out here. Philip Van Vliet and Casey Tomlinson, career night for the 52 machine.
Absolutely, career night for many of our top three. That's probably Eric's biggest win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, and a career best finish for both the 89 and 52. So good stuff all around. And well, let's take a look at our entire rundown for this evening. The timing and scoring page is a little broken, but I don't know
because Eric decided to take the road course and got disqualified. So
I see.
He's still going to be credited with the win, but all these spots +1.
Yes, all right. Eric Anderson is our winner tonight in the 43 for Graybeard. Philip Van Vliet brings it home second. Casey Tomlinson in third on the podium. Leroy Koblenz brings it home in a very solid fourth place in his first drive for the 42 truck. Running out the top 5, Logan Spencer in the 19, also having a very good night. Sixth place for Jaden Wicks in his first career race here at the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Greg Mitchell in 7th after a very chaotic race. Chris Rose brings it home in 8th. Chris Wold in 9th. And rounding out our top 10, another newcomer, Dwayne Young in the 48.
All right, let's see if I can do this without messing it up. Jared Anderson comes home in 11th place. Tanner Marr takes 12th. Eric Anderson, your race winner out here tonight, being scored in 12th due to iRacing's timing and scoring, but is the race winner is the 43, Eric Anderson. Ed Jurgen, Theodore Todrov, new driver for this season in that number 27 car. Finished 3 laps down out here tonight. Nathan Dufton, Andrew Caldwell, a pair of teammates in those Toyotas, had some damage on those 46 and 47 machines. Andrew Caldwell, or Brad Holmes and Amanda Sherman round out your top 19, and then finally Gary Bowman in 20th.
I think our number is fixed now. Gary Bowman 19th, Andy Cork 20th. Chris Mackey brings it home in 21st in his first race here in Cyber. Dave Gainforth in his first race with Graybeard Motorsports. Dave Gainforth, new Hall of Fame member here at Cyber, brings it home in 22nd. Larry Bell in 23rd. Carter Lawson in that bright pink 98 in 24th. Lee Campbell was up towards the front a lot, brings it home in 25 after getting too much damage in a wreck early. Steven Music 26th. Mike Stiverson 27th. Jason Dinsmore in the 62 truck 28th. Judd Danielson, 29th, and rounding out the top 30, Chris Letts in the 65.
And the 2 drivers that finish in the 30s is Corey Sherman, the Shermanator. Unfortunate night for the TNA Motorsports driver involved in that incident with Dave Gainforth and Gary Sigelco round out the field of 32 drivers out here tonight, Arie.
Well, with the season opener done and complete, our winner decided, we turn our attention, Tom, to 1 week from now, where we head further south. We're going to head to Homestead Miami Speedway for quite a race. That's, I think, a really good choice for the second race of the season, and we'll get to really see who's going to go out there on more of a traditional track, quote-unquote, and lay down some good times and show some speed going into the rest of the season.
Well, as we begin to make our way out of Daytona International Speedway out here tonight, Eric Anderson with the big push from teammate Leroy Koblenz in that 42 machine. Eric Anderson walks away with the black and white checkered flag out here tonight as the race winner in race number 1 of 2025 Season 2, breaking the winless streak and the drought for Graybeard Racing. Arie, what do you say we do it next week again here? Same place, same time.
I think that sounds like a great time, Tom. I'm looking forward to it. Miami is a great track, and well, with no more winning in, it's all about points racing. It's all about stage racing, and I think we're going to get to see some fun differing strategies at a track like Miami.
Well, until next week in Miami Speedway, we'll see you here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Hey, if you enjoyed tonight's stream, make sure you click that like button, click that subscribe button, get notified every time we're live here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. We're going to be bringing this to you 23 weeks between now and February, and we got a great season in front of us. Congratulations once again to race winner Eric Anderson.